Y'all ready for this? Because it is time for some
Yeehaw.
fan fiction theater. 9001 instance. Max Force will not be joining us. I
Oh,
will be
shit,
doing
did
this
Max
intro
die?
in a very southern manner, just so he is annoyed when he watches this again and goes, "Damn it, Sneaky! Stop doing southern accents better than me." And I am your host, Sneaky Devil.
I'd like you to never do that again.
I'm sorry, I
I
can't
need
help
you
you
to
with that.
continue to do it just to annoy him.
Oh, don't
Yeah,
worry,
please
I will.
keep at it.
We have Gray, we have Arn, we have Nose, we have Atin. And we got Nexus in chat.
Yeah, well, fucking loop
Fuck
fine.
you.
Spineless bastard. Doesn't even show up. We're gonna tear him apart. Fuck easy.
So before we actually get right into it, I just want to keep spreading the news of this instance of the doctor who almost cured the coronavirus has suddenly turned up dead. I wish I was fucking joking.
You see, this is all part of an elaborate plan by the communists to ruin capitalism.
And according to the police, they can, quote, only assume it was a suicide.
Interesting.
Oh, God. Fucking Christ. But let's get started with the fanfiction. Oh, we got Birdie in chat, even though she refuses to speak.
She never speaks.
She just lurks. Like a lurker.
Silent.
Like a silent
Strange,
devil.
creepy lurker.
I like the fucking birds here.
Like a
They're fucking loud
bird
as shit.
in a tree, just lurking and staring at you, plotting your murder.
Like, genuinely, if I didn't have this noise scale on, you guys would probably hear the birds chirping outside. Fucking annoying.
It could also be the pharmaceutical companies because cures are bad for profit. That's possible. True.
Counterpoint. A crumbling economy is worse for profit.
That's also true. If no one can afford the medicines they're selling, it makes it a little bit hard to make a profit. Personally, I feel like this is just a authoritarian grab for power by world governments. I don't even know if it was America that killed the guy. Fuck, it could be Germany.
Fucking Ching Chong Ping Pong from Wuhan just sniped that fucker.
I mean, they did silence quite a few doctors over there permanently.
Exactly.
They put a lot of doctors into the ground.
But anyway, so I want to have a little vote before we start today. So we got Naruto. We got some Naruto fics here that we could read. We got some Doom fics we could read. Some really cringe tier Doom fics. We got some Fairy Tail. We got some Ruby, Fate Stay Night. Anything you guys are interested in right now? They're all so
If
good.
you can wait for,
I'm interested
Sneaky.
in nothing.
if you can wait for an hour, then Lupine might be free to join.
I know. That's why I'm not
That's
going to read
great.
his story yet. Yep.
Yeah, fair enough. I just pinged him a minute ago.
Yep. So we got some Rising of the Shield Hero. Got some edgy Rising of the Shield Hero. Jesus Christ! Holy shit, that's
You know what? Let's
edgy.
go with edgy shield hero. Not that there's any other kind of
so
shield
we got
hero.
we got a bountiful selection of Shield Hero edge here.
Oh Jesus Christ!
We got
God.
Demon Lord. We got I'll show you a true shield. We got New Lives Isekai. See what else we got. Yeah, that's it for now. Yeah, I think that's the three we got right in front of me. Anyone you specifically want? Demon Lord maybe?
Hey, fucking go for it, dude.
A dream born in the abyss.
No. Why?
Oh god.
Yeah.
God damn it.
This is so fucking edgy.
We haven't even started.
All right. God, this is so edgy.
Oh fuck. Yeah, you don't have to put up that banner, dude. Also, holy fuck, what's that word count for chapter?
Literally the first chapter, ladies and gentlemen. It's becoming
So this is the Demon Lord of the Shield by.
First of all, that shield, it looks like some kind of...
Okay, but that's canon. That's a canon shield.
Oh god, it is?
Yeah, it's the cursed shield
Yeah.
of cursedness.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. The curse shield of cursing McCurse curses.
Yeah. So this is
That
the
you should
Demon
really
Lord.
just never use ever.
Yeah, this is the Demon Lord of the Shield by Overlord Draco Lucifer.
No. No. Fuck you. Oh my god.
I see that God has decreed we will suffer today.
Ever feel like you were born in the wrong world? Ever dream of leaving your current world behind for a different one? Why does this sound like a used car salesman?
Because it is.
Damien of the Abyss has! As an otaku and gamer, he feels like
Man actually fucking dies. Jesus Christ.
This is some shit.
this otaku and gamer is about to make that dream a reality. But with this new world against him, will he become a hero, a demon lord, or both? Slightly altered version of Shield Hero with OC Shield Hero, rated
Jesus
M
Christ.
for mature events and language.
You know, I'm gonna be with you guys. Like, I can give this guy props on one thing, and that's the word count per chapter. But at the same time, I hate him for it.
Yeah, 13 chapters, but 200k words. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
This man's
Technically
written 2
speaking,
books.
I'm impressed.
He's written 2 fucking books of this.
2 books.
Like, it's impressive, but fucking shoot him,
But
please.
fucking why? Also, Damien Abyss. Yeah, people just walk around with the last name Abyss.
Do we get to add that up there with D-Train Dark and
Yeah.
Spider Poison Blood?
Yeah, definitely D-Train Dark and Spider Poison Blood. He comes in at 3rd place because he's pretending like that's his real name.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
Oh yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Abyss. Yeah, I live right next to them. Fucking.
Mr. and Mrs. Abyss, I live right next to them, and over there you can see Manus's asshole vomiting forth horrible things upon the earth.
Yeah, exactly. It's just fucking. yeah, someone's gonna have the last name of Abyss my ass. Oh god.
That's a very specific
Oh, look.
and disturbing last name.
Okay,
Look, there's a show
it's
up.
been a while since I've actually posted any of my work online for other people to read.
Well,
wow, I
you
can
probably
already
should have
feel it.
kept it that way.
He just
Yeah.
let that. He just put that out
Whoa!
there.
I
just put that out there
I'm
for us
really,
to-
it's really unfortunate series of events that C8 isn't here because we are just on goddamn fire tonight.
What have I stepped
Look at the
into?
fucking rod layer.
Max, run while you still can. We
Run while
found
you
the
still
third
can.
place
Leave,
contender for
leave.
edgiest name ever.
Okay, except the part of my paycheck technically includes making occasional appearances on
He
this
is correct
shit
on that one.
shithole. So,
I guess.
What have you caught so far?
I came into
Dick
this
trickle.
is a name, and then it went from there into the author's
Mhm.
note. So,
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
Give it
So,
summary and everything.
I haven't-
so
I
the
haven't missed
summary,
much.
the summary reads like a used car salesman trying to sell you an isekai. And by
oh my god, no, yeah, this is just a sales pitch.
Slap,
this
slap,
is a door-to-door salesman.
yeah, and he's like,
Flat
all right,
story.
look, my
This
truck
fucking-
will definitely isekai you. Just get hit by it.
slap roof of truck. This baby can kill so many anime protagonists.
The Demon Lord's
Also, the author like actually legitimately thinks that his self insert is named Damien Abyss, Because that's just the name you encounter in the modern age.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Let me, let's go do a Google search real quick.
Oh no.
I'm feeling really nervous as I type this out, but here goes nothing. You should feel nervous because this is trash.
Surname origins. Oh boy, I forgot this existed. I'll get back to you guys.
Hello there to all who have decided to take the time to give my story a read. Let me just say thank you very much for doing so. Now, as I've said, it's been a long time since I've posted anything online for others to read. About 3 years by now, I think.
Damn, we couldn't have kept that going for 4, 5,
7,
2010.
2010. The inspiration for this fanfic hit me like a ton of bricks. If only it could have been real bricks.
If only
Yeah.
it could have hit you so hard you forgot about it.
Seriously, that anime is awesome.
No.
Rising of the
No.
Shield Hero's only redeeming quality is Raftalia.
Let's be honest, that's been the only redeeming quality for a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, Raftalia and the fact that it pissed off a fuck ton of SJWs.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
I would say, I
You
mean,
know,
by that
That's
logic,
hard.
then Goblin
Nexus.
Slayer has a redeeming quality besides Goblin Slayer.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Nexus rates it a Raf out of 10.
To be like that sometimes.
Anyway, my grammar's
You can do grammar. I believe in you.
Max, is he using the apostrophe S properly here?
Sorry,
Yeah.
where and where my
I think-
grammar.
No, wait.
Well,
My-
technically yes, because he's
Yes,
conjugating
actually.
whatever it is into one
Yeah.
word. So
Yeah, I hate
welcome
it.
to vernacular. By
Yeah.
the way, I finally figured out
Mm.
why I always have like a twinge when reading
Yeah.
core stuff whenever I read his dialogue.
Because it's
Because
British.
not even that. He's still following proper English rules for characters that would
Oh,
not speak
Yeah,
English.
yeah,
Like instead of
yeah.
I'm not going there, I am not going there. Instead of I won't go with you, it's I shall not go with you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Like
Yeah.
It's really funny because I've been
seen British authors do vernacular. It's weird.
Alright, governor!
I would say it's
It's
funny
so
because
weird.
I've been rewatching The Next Generation, and all I can think about when I read core stuff because I'm catching up on
Right.
Professor Ark is Jesus Christ. It sounds like Data wrote this.
Yeah. Well, see, the issue
Which-
that he
Hold
will...
on a minute. Hold on a minute.
What?
Which data? Which
Fuck
data?
you. The issue is that with Core is that his main job is being an editor for a published
Yes.
magazine, and so that's inevitably going to bleed through. And as we all saw, it did bleed through in his earlier stories, which were very formatted.
Very by the book.
Yeah. And I mean, he's gotten a lot better with the creative aspect, but unfortunately, just like how you write is a very much continuous thing, and because his actual job is, magazine articles that are being published, he has to write in a very specific way, and he's been doing that for a far longer time than he has been doing fan fiction, and that's a lot harder to drop than it is, say, creativity. Even though his stories do kind of read like a fan fiction version of Shonen Jump. Just, saying. Alright, you know what? I think it's time to crack the Black Kraken.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy, here we go. He
Oh, wait,
has
dude.
started to drink my style of drink.
I'm like
Remember
3,
Sneaky.
4 shots in already.
Remember Sneaky?
Yeah, I'm remembering.
I remember Sneaky, yeah.
Don't drink too much.
I am
Really?
unsure.
You had us wait that long for you to give the advice that you are least qualified to give.
Yes.
Good.
You know what?
I'm
You've
glad.
lost your talking
I'm glad
privileges.
you're in my lineup. Fucking Christ.
He's lost his talking privileges.
I think
Okay.
one of my friends might be a psychopath. He
Wait,
just
Wait, which
posted
one?
a screenshot from was it the forest? He just posted a screenshot. Him and another person he's friends with just has strung up a shit ton of limbs in their campsite for some reason.
I'm sorry, what?
I
This is disturbing.
see.
Disturbing game to begin with, but wow.
That's
That is
I mean, are there other people on the server? Like, is it like a server with like hostile PvP? Because like at least then I could understand it as like a ooh stay away thing.
The forest is a PvE experience that you can play with other people.
Ah.
I don't know the
see.
max count, but I've never seen more than 4 people. So
I was sitting there
If
for a
he
second. I was
invites you
like,
anywhere after dark or anywhere like secluded, maybe say no.
see,
I should also note he captioned it with more limbs for the limb god. So
yes, your friend might be a serial killer.
Essentially.
I was gonna say, it's really weird that Max is coming to me with a concern about one of his friends being a psychopath. I'm just sitting there for a moment, like,
Sneaky, my worry is that here's the thing.
Okay,
You're a
look.
sociopath.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Like
I don't worry
psychopaths are
about Sneaky
actually
committing
scary.
murder.
Yeah, like Sneaky, you're a sociopath. You're
Mhm.
able to outweigh cost and reward and
that's
disadvantage
psychopath.
versus advantage.
No,
So like
the sociopaths
might-
are the impulsive ones. The reason why psychopaths end up as serial killers is because they're very meticulous about their
I
issues.
thought sociopaths were the ones that are able to outweigh weigh benefits versus.
No, they're characterized as being technically speaking, the medical establishment has merged psychopath and sociopath into social disorder, just abnormal social disorder, which I think is dumb as hell. But no, typically sociopaths are characterized as people who are impulsive due to their inability to weigh other people's and personal feelings and emotions into the what am I going to do next count, as I call them, chaotic stupid. Meanwhile, your psychopaths would typically be characterized as lawful evil, and they have a very specific criteria of what they're going to do, and they serve mostly just themselves.
That sounds accurate, I guess. I mean, it sort of fits with the actual descriptions of it, with just like a lack of empathy and stuff like that. Sort of fits.
The other main difference is that sociopaths typically cannot fully feel emotion, as it's very dampened, while psychopaths can feel a lot of emotion, and sometimes quite extremely, which is what drives them to become serial killers.
Yes.
And this Ford F-50 Super Duty will make sure you aren't getting back up. Guaranteed isekai. Thank you, Super Potatoes. As we all move on now. I'm not expecting to have the #1 Shield Hero fanfic on this entire site or anything.
And yet you will somehow end up on the top 3 spots. What's he at?
Let's see. Filters all sort by
Do we do favorites or alerts?
let's go with favorites.
What's he at right now?
He is
I'm sorry,
Can't see him yet.
well, he doesn't appear to be on this page. All right, so he's.
I do actually recommend Hope of the Shield Hero. That's actually a decent one. Demon
Guess
Lord
not.
of the Shield, down here at the
Oh.
bottom. So he's in the top
so-
25.
So he is on the first page, though.
Yeah, he's on the first page.
Yeah, fuck him.
The first page of 11.
Are you?
So.
Oh yeah, 11. Huh.
Huh.
Not too many. Wait, what the? Swords of Fantasy. Self-insert. Summoned by the country of Melomark as the sword hero, I try to help Naofumi with swords of my fantasy, but why are my companions a gender-bent Saint George and Maya?
Sneaky. If you look up a couple lines,
Contains
you'll see.
lewds.
Sneaky. Look up a couple lines, you'll see. Gaming of the bow anti-hero. What the fuck?
Gaming of the bow anti-hero. An
They're just so much
anti-hero
other-
is a main character in a story who lacks conventional heroic qualities and attributes like idealism and morality. Reading this story, which was about a dead guy from our world who took Kitsuki's role as bow hero, got
Can you
a
feel the edge in the air tonight?
and got a
ladies and
cheat
gentlemen?
similar to The Gamer. Discontinued version 2 is Gaming Spear Wielder. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I'm gonna have to ask you to slide that into the queue somewhere.
I'm gonna have to ask you to fuck the right off. Oh no! It's a higher! Oh no! It's higher!
Oh god, why?
Gaming of the Spear Wielder.
Oh,
What's a hero for you? A slayer of monsters, a knight for maidens, an ally of justice, or a defender of the weak. A random omnipotent being asked me.
No, okay, I'm
thought-
sorry.
I thought it was Rob
hope
from
that's-
Smash Bros.
I hope that's Rob the robot, the little like NES gaming buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so much more
Now that
interesting.
would be a nice twist. You get fucking you die and like Rob the gaming nest rolls up to you. Which hero would you like to be?
Yeah,
It's
he's
like,
just sitting there.
what
He's
the
just sitting there with his
fuck?
gyroscope in hand.
It's just like what the fuck.
No, even better. He
Play-
starts threatening you. You have 30 seconds to decide. The gyroscope just starts spinning up.
What kind of
Menacingly charges
afterlife
the
is
projectile at
this?
you.
Your
Menacing-
punishment.
It is the afterlife of Rob. Suffer, mortal.
You
Someone
asked
do it,
for
please.
you asked for Mother 3, you must now suffer, mortal.
A knight for maidens. Why? Maybe because the hero can get laid after saving the maidens. Wow! Fucking MGTOW incel detected.
Why do they all?
Good
You know
enough.
why are Lancers always assholes? Why can they never be like just a dragoon? What do you exist for? To murder dragons?
Because
they're Anything else?
compensating
Did
for
I
their small
stutter?
dick.
Yes, I know they are.
I
Not all
replied
Lancers are
and got
compensating.
revived as Spear Hero with gamer power. This is my second life.
Isn't that a little redundant? The story itself already gives them those powers.
Oh boy. Oh fucking
Yeah, but
boy.
This is all they know how to write.
Self-insert RPG literature. Harem
no.
canon divergence world hopping.
World hopping already exists within.
OC
Heroes,
times Risha, Raftalia, and Ost. Well, there is multiple sins being committed here.
We
Cancer.
Also, this screams, absolutely screams of someone who just watched the anime and never even looked up the manga or light novel. Because,
Oh, no,
as
I can
Max
tell you
said,
100
there is already game mechanics and world hopping.
Yeah, at
You don't
cover-
You don't
mechanic, I
understand.
covered,
Half
like,
of the people that rate this are probably just anime onlys. They
Oh, shut up
probably
for a
only
minute.
watched
Sorry,
the first
Max, what
were you
episode,
saying?
and that was it.
What were you saying,
That
Max?
was it.
nothing. But like, does it get far enough to show Ost in the anime? Did they get that
No.
far?
Oh, no. No.
Oh, I'm sure they completely screwed up her personality then.
Oh, probably, yeah.
wouldn't
All right.
surprise me.
You can speak again, Nose.
I was just saying, most of these people probably only watched the first episode. Just like
Yeah.
rushed off to Wikipedia, read the synopsis.
Time to
like,
go write
yeah.
my self-insert, OC.
Oh my god, it's a new anime.
Oh god, what is this
Right,
front page?
self-insert.
Right?
Oh god.
Raising of the shielded businessman? What?
You know what? You know what? I want to just see that just for the
Yeah,
concept.
What's the summary on that?
Yeah.
Business shark in Naofumi's skin. Buy low, sell high, decapitate competition. That sounds like Viking, okay?
Okay. Here's the
Like,
problem.
I was gonna say
Now,
it doesn't
Fumi-
get lower than
here's the problem.
stealing.
This summary already has the same problem as the other one.
Yeah.
Now Fumi is already a business shark.
Yes. Yes.
No, see, he secretly
The
turned down.
only thing he didn't stoop
Already
to was the selling of people.
More or
Yeah,
less,
that's pretty much it.
Fuck yeah. I'm down for that.
I will be publishing on a weekly basis. Got the
When will that
outline for
update?
next chapters, but the characters are taking over, so I'm writing their story.
The characters are taking over.
I see.
Please end my suffering.
Now Fumi quits being a hero. What the fuck is that profile pic?
Right.
Oh, that's just from the
I
Isekai
forgot.
for
Or
Christmas
right
thing.
in the light novel.
Yeah.
Now Fumi, he did sell slavers back to Siltveld.
Yes.
I did forget about that. So he has to. Oh god, he's had a hand in just about
Did
everything. Prostitution in that world.
No, I'm sure he did that too.
Oh no, potato! How far is your reach? A potato
Oh.
taught me what insanity is.
Potato.
That just sounds like a D&D character.
Underplayed
that
Creation
knows
says,
something about
imagine if Shield Hero was a jump chain.
I want you to die.
Well, okay, so look. I don't think I have ever actually talked about jump chains on here before.
Oh, you did. You ranted about them last week.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did
Dude,
a whole
sure
rant
did.
about chasing
Rant?
fads. And how
Oh,
it's
yeah,
garbage and
yeah.
how-
I was fucking drunk.
That's
We
that's
know.
why
Also,
I just
As I
Gave you
told
the
my
summary.
coworker today, because he's like, "What's that thing you were talking about yesterday?" I'm like, "Well, that does not narrow it down." He's like, "The thing with Disney." I'm like, "Dude, that's still you need to be way more specific because I have no memory of yesterday at all. I basically blot out the memory of my entire day near the instant I get home." Besides for a few choice stories, just so I don't fucking snap and murder all of you. You introduced me to jump chain garbage. I'm sorry. Did you look it up? Why did you do that? I just complained for like an hour and a half about how bad they were. God damn it. It's like talking to goddamn 5-year-olds. Don't put your hand on the oven, you'll get burned. Why? It's very hot. Don't do it. Slaps hands on the oven.
Nikki, I'm sorry to tell you, there's some people that have heard the saying "curiosity killed the cat" and decided to dare to test that.
Fair enough.
My favorite is the people who continue to test that, even though they constantly get slapped down.
Me?
No, you usually learn your lesson. As far as like actual physical repercussions go, digital
Oh.
things don't count. There's
I
no
guess.
punishment in throwing yourself in a tank with a Molotov in Left 4 Dead 2.
It
Aside from
worked!
time to walk.
Okay!
It did work, yes. Usually you die,
damn it.
but it did work, yes.
you say it was technically successful insofar as the tank perished and your team was able to continue on.
That's what we call the two.
There's a witch in this story. If I crouched when I jump, I could probably go over them. Hop! Max, are you fucking kidding me, Sneaky?
By the way, just
Well,
a
the
side
best
note,
part is just
I
calmly
applaud
walk
your
up
Krieg
and
spirit,
just
Sneaky.
crown the witch. When you try them, it's like, was that really that hard? Was that really that hard? Did you have to do that?
It's always time for Sneaky to do really stupid shit in the name of memes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Especially when he's playing Yoda.
Even
But
even
it doesn't
when I'm
stop
playing
him from
Dota.
doing it in real life.
Especially when I'm doing it in real life.
I was
I'm
going
an
to say, when he
endless
does it
font
in
of
Dota, we
puns.
lose games because he's a fucking dumbass.
Okay, look, you cannot blame last night on me. That was so far from my fault.
That's not what we're
Okay.
here for. We're
It
here for
wasn't-
we're here for edgy shield hero, guys.
Yes, we're
Okay.
here for Edgy Shield
I
Hero.
understand this. I'm just going to say one thing.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's true. It
Well,
wasn't your complete
yeah.
fault. But
Blah,
you
blah, blah.
didn't help.
Blah, blah. My OC is the protagonist. Blah, blah, blah. I might add some original touches. Blah, 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 blah. Canon rails. Blah,
Wait,
blah, blah.
wait a minute. I might add some original touches. You mean the thing that I'm supposed to do as a fanfiction author to make my entire existence justified?
Well, no, so
Hmm.
I actually genuinely hate it when fanfic authors are like, hey guys, here's this really cool idea. Oh, what's your idea? Oh, Taylor gets Iron Man's power. Iron Man's power? Like, what? Yeah, she becomes a tinker that builds Iron Man stuff from Iron Man. I'm like, oh, God.
I mean, you could just say her power is money and it'd be the same thing.
Yes.
No, that's even Batman.
No,
dude.
that's if you're Batman.
No, I'm pretty
No,
sure.
that's
Fucking
Iron Man,
fighting.
my dude. That is
No, let's be clear. Iron Man does invent most of. I'm not saying his superpower isn't related to money, but he does invent most of his shit himself.
okay. But yes, Batman does buy most of
powers-
his. Yes.
Batman doesn't
That's
invent
power
any of it.
It's money and dead parents. That's about it.
Batman's specialty is detective work, not making the gadgets.
We have some
useless.
people saying, why wouldn't you add your own original touches? And I might add original touches. What the fuck do you mean you might add something original? Okay, no, so let me delineate here. So, I am actually really frustrated when it comes to fan fictions when they try to add their own touches to it that are deviations from the goal of the story. So, for example, as I was giving, Taylor's got Iron Man Tinker Tech. But then they're also like, oh yeah, Hookwolf's power is different. He's actually just a naked man who controls dogs, and Rachel turns into a metal cat.
Also, let's be clear. I'm not saying make changes for the sake of making changes.
Yes, that's what I'm complaining about. Is like it's these like completely out of there, unrelated to the point of the story changes that are just like, but why? Like, oh yeah. Also, everyone is 19 and they all go to college. It's like, wait, what?
Also, they're running a coffee shop together.
Also, the PRT is actually in charge of this college because they're a collegiate board, and they're not actually a superhero management team anymore. It's like, wait,
Oh boy,
What?
college. Oh boy, my favorite college coffee shop AUs.
also gravity is inverted. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about these stories, because I'm just like, you had a cool idea, and then you're just like, oh yeah, it's a coffee shop college AU where they get in with the mafia, who is run by Coil, but Coil's not actually a supervillain. He's just a normal villain who is part of the mafia and calls himself Coil. Like, what?
Brilliant.
Why? Why all this
Amazing.
extra? Can it just be Taylor with Iron Man Tinker Tech? No! It's gotta be this coffee shop college mafia AU!
Just, it's like people come up with really stupid shit, and then they're just like, I should totally continue with this, and then they keep going. They're like, Jesus Christ, I hate this, and then they have to keep going because they already committed to it.
One of my least favorite fics is the No Powers College AU. Oh, fuck it, I know exactly what you're talking about. I utterly despise that fic. The premise...
I haven't.
The premise of this worm fic, it's a worm fic, is that basically everyone's aged up and they're all going to college, including all of the powered cast, except no one has powers. And like, you know, Arms Master is just a professor there, and like Dragon's his girlfriend, except she's not called Dragon. You know,
What's she
What's the
called?
point?
Durgan?
no, she's like Alice or something. I don't fucking know.
Ding-a-ding-a-durgan.
But it's just really stupid. Like Pigot's the the headmaster of the college, and it was just really stupid garbage because it's just like this is just a no power college AU. But then Taylor gets caught up in some shit anyway. It's like, what the fuck? This is so stupid. It Did I rant about that one before? Probably, yeah, I probably did. Because it just frustrates me so much, because it's just like, you've put so much effort into making this AU, why don't you just write your own fucking story? Since you clearly have no care about the plot, the characters, or anything. Why are you naming it a worm story?
Yeah, it's
Because
always
fuck
frustrating
you.
to see shit like that. Like, one of the people I know who's a fanfiction writer, I've gone through like half of his Ruby story. It is so frustrating. I looked at him after getting to a certain point. I'm like, I'm disappointed in you. Why? Because you're not writing your own shit.
Yeah, it's just like, it's classically those people are like, oh, well, no one will read it if I don't post it under Worm or reflavor it to be Naruto. It's just like, yeah, because it's bland-ass garbage. Literally,
There's
you
those people.
and
yeah.
every other girl on this planet has a coffee shop AU. But yeah, no, I've actually genuinely seen, non-AUs of coffee shop. Like, John runs a coffee shop. That was actually like an amusing, good story from Core. I had a good time with that because, guess what? It wasn't an AU. It was just literally John runs a coffee shop in Ruby.
That's the only difference. Everyone is still there with their powers.
Yeah.
You just didn't get in a beacon.
If they won't write it under their own name, doesn't that say something about the quality of the story? Yeah. That's why I hate those stories. Because literally no one would read it if it wasn't a Naruto story. But it's not. It's a no chakra modern mafia Naruto AU where Naruto is an up-and-coming police officer, but he's fallen in love with this dark and dreamy mafia mobster named Sasuke Uchiha. I'm not even kidding. That was the actual story we saw one time on this podcast.
Because that's totally one I want to read.
But yeah, that's definitely what you want to read when you go into the Naruto section. Is a Naruto story about Naruto times Sasuke, except there's no ninjas, chakra doesn't exist, and it's taking place in Detroit. Yeah, that's what I want to fucking read when I go into the Naruto section.
Honestly, the more and more I hear about this, I keep thinking of someone's fetish being mafia dons.
Like, this is why I have this podcast. I am so filled with rage, I can't even bottle up my rage about fanfiction anymore.
We've done it. We found the plot. We found the story for why this exists.
No, the podcast exists because we were blue-balled in a Mass Effect fanfiction because we were promised sex with Reapers. But that was the straw that broke the camel's back. For years before that, I had been ranting to Max, and Max will tell you, I ranted to him any second he would listen about these shit fanfictions.
I still remember the day it happened.
There were entire nights where Sneaky would be like, hang on, let me get some milk. And I would just be working on a Zoid's model kit. Like, alright, great. I get to listen to him read shitty summaries. Oh boy.
Hold on.
This is the next 6 hours of my night.
Hold on, let me get some milk.
Every time. I always knew when he was going to go read shitty fanfiction, because he'd always say that.
Look, I didn't drink back then, okay? I hadn't worked for the government yet.
I mean, I guess. But I was going to say, you don't need to work for the government to start drinking heavily.
No, but it certainly helps.
True. You just have to work in, like, any sort of industry that, like, thinks of you nothing as more of a fucking cog.
So every industry.
Imagine what Sneaky would have done if he'd worked retail.
Oh no, there is a specific reason why I will never work retail. And it's the same reason why I can't work.
Fired in the first 10 days.
I would murder someone.
You
We
probably
fucking
would.
blood in the streets.
It wouldn't be the first person. It would be like the 20th person to ask me the same question that day when the answer to their question is the giant sign right fucking next to me. And I would just take the sign and beat them to death going, "Have I answered your question, sir?"
I'm sorry.
The
All
sad
I
thing
can
is,
think...
I can definitely imagine you doing that.
Oh, I can totally imagine him doing it, but I was laughing thinking about the headline.
Oh, what's the headline?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? They would spend like a day or two poking through your history, and it would be like, crazed alt-right gamer takes out frustrations on NPC.
Yeah, because of all the violent video games I play, like Terraria and Minecraft, they make me.
And then Max and I would go on the news. Nah, listen, it was not the video games. He was an asshole.
Listen, guys, if it wasn't for Dota 2, this would have happened way sooner.
He'd have
Honestly,
committed homicide
kind of.
years ago.
It is a little depressing how your only outlet for your rage is a video game that is nearing 10 years old.
No, he has this podcast.
Yeah, I now have 2 outlets of my rage.
Oh god. We're enablers. We've enabled him to do whatever he
No,
wants.
no. You're
technically-
interventionists. You
Yeah.
are preventing me
Yeah.
from murder.
Can I list
completely
this? Can
do
I
not
list this on my tax forms?
No, I don't think so. I don't think the IRS takes that as a tax
As a tax exemption?
deduction. No.
Damn it.
You know what? I bet if we pretty it up real nice, you could probably find a way. Oh, wait, don't you actually pay money to Sneaky because you're dumb enough to sub to him?
Yes, he does. He pays me to be
I
on the audio panel.
I pay him to be a
Okay.
retard, yes.
Do you think we could pretty it up enough to be like, I've been donating to a special needs person?
Why do you think
We
I've started doing it?
Get your $60.
God damn it,
every year
potatoes.
as a tax write-off.
Fucking potatoes thing.
Another one?
What do potatoes do?
He just keeps gifting subs.
Okay,
How much money
I
do you
need to
have?
find out who this person actually is.
I'm waiting for like the call to come. Like Sneaky's been arrested. It was part of a sting operation. They mentioned a potato.
They mentioned a potato.
Either that or like I wouldn't be surprised if the IRS calls us one day and it's like, are you aware that that your friend has been laundering drug money through his Twitch channel?
I wouldn't be surprised. That would probably happen to me.
Yeah.
I don't even sell drugs. Would still get arrested for smuggling drug money. Also, what's this talk for donations for the special needs children? Yeah, you should donate to me. I'm special needs and a child.
You can just list that on your Patreon.
I never said children. I said person. I don't know where Dinshin got children from. Potatoes
I mean,
even-
he acts like a child, so...
Potatoes doesn't do anything. On
God damn it,
his-
potatoes.
Another one.
I. with
Another
the-
one.
fucking hell.
The potatoes is on a one-man crusade by not allowing anyone to exist without a badge next to their name, and I appreciate such crusade. But god damn
Okay,
it,
well,
potatoes.
it's either that or he's trying to get enough people on here to just get your channel turned off. He'll make you big enough to make sure you get run out of Twitch.
Yeah, finally get my channel turned off because I finally got enough attention on it. Oh god.
More than 2 people showed up a week and they're like, wow, this guy's like a terrible human being.
I mean,
See-
we
that's the thing.
kind of get new people occasionally, and they just don't talk, or they do talk, and then they never come back. I'm just like, what was it I said? What was it I said? That's like, I wish I could have an
See-
exit survey. Just be like, what exactly was it that made you leave?
Here's the thing, right? I fully anticipate
that.
that Twitch will shut you down, not for something you say, but they'll just look at you and be like, this is such a terrible human being, we just can't let him stay on this platform.
With small
That's
tangent, would
gonna
you
be
still
one of the people that
write that
occasionally
Ruby
pop up.
rewrite if I gave you money constantly? Fuck, if you do that, god damn it, I probably would.
Ruby rewrite.
Fuck.
Which one? Because there's like 4, and I've talked.
I was
about
gonna say,
I-
here's the
there
thing,
could be a
we'd
lot
have
of
to be
them.
very careful how we phrase that. Because technically you can't pay him to write someone else's IP.
Hey,
That's a
Sneaky, I got a
no-no.
question for you. Would you be willing to do a Ruby-inspired original fiction with me?
Sure, Max.
See?
No, I'm
That's
completely
mu-
serious. Though.
Yeah,
Like, you're a
definitely.
great
I
sounding
should,
board
I should,
for
I should, I should
ideas.
change my podcast to that. Sneaky Devil, the terrible human. Watch him talk.
Just
It's like a sideshow attraction. Just watch him dig the hole deeper.
Can we just change your nickname to the terrible human and just leave it as that for a while?
I mean, true
Sure.
sneaky
I
devil
mean,
certainly
we
for
can
works, 'cause
change
he
his
is the
name to
devil.
that, but he can just change
No,
it back.
No, I'll
can't.
allow it.
No, we physically can't change his name. He's
Oh,
the
that's
owner.
right, 'cause
We
I'm the
do not have
admin.
owner rights. What are you
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about?
You have no power here.
No, we
I
have
mean, we
plenty of
have
power.
14
We
people
don't have
for
any
some
power
reason,
over.
despite the fact
Not
that we
over
only
me.
get 7.
Yeah, we don't have any real power over you. We have power over everyone else, but you and Arn, because you gave Arn secret admin privileges that I think I'm the only person they
Max,
rival.
there was a secret.
Why did you give Arn secret powers?
Because I am.
Because
Arn
I
knew how to
actually
run
helped
the
him.
bot.
Yeah, I'm utterly retarded, and I'm just like, all right, well, Arn's been running a server that has managed to keep together for like 4 years now, so I guess I can
Yeah.
trust him.
Yeah, I remember it was just I'm just like I look at the bot, I was like, oh, Arn's suddenly there, huh?
Yo.
Oh, that's why the bot started working 2 hours ago. Because
Look,
I was busy with work, and I came home too tired to deal with any bots for the first year of work, and Arn doesn't have a job, so Sneaky's just outsourced.
Arn
Simple.
has Norwegian oil money.
Exactly. Funnel that shit right into fucking
I
robotics.
I will graciously accept any funneling of money towards me, and I will heavily consider writing anything Ruby inspired or related if that such thing happens.
Yeah. Sneaky, is tomorrow your off day still?
Yeah,
or does
tomorrow
that
is officially apparently my permanent off day until this whole shit gets done with.
Well,
Oh,
or at least
nice.
until it stabilizes. It's not going to be done for at least 2 years, but it should stabilize.
Okay,
before the end
look,
of the year.
I'm so fucking done with this whole coronavirus panic shit. Like, more people are dying from car crashes and cancer than coronavirus right now, okay?
I just want to point out, I do advocate for the banning of cancer. Can't do much about car crashes because people letting stupid people get licenses.
I wholeheartedly advocate banning of car crashes and cancer. Clearly, once we make both illegal, people will stop doing them.
I'm just saying, I can't wait for self-driving cars to be a thing.
And they are. a thing,
I
but
don't
every time
think
they
I don't
crash,
think I
it's
will
an
ever
error.
go on the road again once self-driving cars become a thing.
Remember, if you
Okay,
if
well-
you ever if you ever
No.
say anything
Max,
about
NFC propagation. Worm. Max
want
is
to
doing the
argue
heavy.
against-
I'm doing the math. I'm like, let's figure out what he just said, and I'm jumping to the immediate thing of like, yeah, if someone does the right fucking with signals, they just cause like 30 car pileups
Yeah.
simultaneously all around the country.
Yep.
Honestly, Sneaky, you didn't even have to say that. You could just said Watchdogs, like, oh.
Oh yeah, that too. I constantly repress my memories of that game.
Okay, the hacking, the idea behind it, the gameplay was fun, but then they fucked it up because it's like. Also, fuck Aiden. Everything that went wrong in his life is literally his fault. It's never-
literally his fault. Completely his fucking fault.
Like, the fact that this man's like, "Oh, how dare you kill these people?" and it's like, you killed all of their men,
Yeah.
stole from them, and then didn't make sure they weren't tracking you. What do
Yeah.
you mean? How dare they? You literally punched the bee, and you punched the beehive.
Speaking of bees, have you guys heard the murder hornets are here? The murder hornets are in Washington State now.
Hornets.
And
Yeah.
we're gonna
You guys are fine with
we're
that.
gonna quarantine them because quarantines are effective in the U.S.
Okay, what fucking dumbass? Yeah, I'm getting so tired of how often it's like, oh, so we have a new invasive species. It's like, great. Is this the one for the decade?
Oh, I just noticed that the black kraken is 94 proof.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh.
Spicy.
Oh.
That's what 47%.
Yeah, it's 47%.
Damn, nice.
I'm hoping to one day find a 120 proof vodka up here.
Of course.
Hang on, I'm gonna check.
Anyway, actually, now that we're an hour into this podcast, let's actually cover the story we pulled up.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Oh boy.
Look, it's just been such an edgy fucking story that I just don't want to go near it, but oh god.
Look, we've been
I'll
reading
be-
nothing but edgy stories since this
I'll be back
started.
in a
Just
moment.
fucking
I
pull your,
need more food for this.
pull your britches up and get to work.
Yeah.
Pull your britches up. Fucking.
It was a foggy morning. The sun was just starting to rise over the horizon, and I stood there on a cliff over the sea, watching it all happen. The only sounds that could be heard were the sounds of the waves washing over the base of the cliff below, and the wind as it blew past me.
Passed me?
As it blew
Indeed.
past me.
Blue Passed.
It's okay. I'm sure you can say the right word eventually.
No, I am.
He's saying the right word.
Oh, it's written like that.
Yes. Blew past me.
Excellent. I shall be taking a drink.
Yep, I'm gonna help you right there.
How's that? How's that Kraken teaching you?
It's about as irritating as all the alcohols I drink, but it's got a nice little burst of spicy taste to it.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Like, don't get me wrong. I hate alcohol. I absolutely abhor it.
You could have fooled us.
I utterly hate the taste of alcohol. I despise it. It tastes just repulsive to me. But I need it. I need it for this podcast. I need it for dealing with my coworkers. I need it for dealing with my family.
That's right. You do need it for a lot of things.
I need it to make sure a murder-suicide doesn't appear on the news.
I feel like I feel like that's the opposite of what you need. If you worry about murder suicide.
Oh, no. See, when I'm drunk, I am even more apathetic than I am currently.
Because remember, technically speaking, alcohol is a depressant, despite the fact that it removes inhibitions.
They do make alcohol that doesn't taste like trash rubbing alcohol. Excuse me, sir. I drink only the finest of
you drink only the finest
paint thinner.
moonshine. I was going to say moonshine, but okay, that
I drink
works
only
too.
the finest of paint thinners. No, seriously, no. Tito's is not trash rubbing alcohol. I'm not drinking fucking Everclear here. Jesus Christ.
Okay, has the story actually progressed, or have we just been arguing about alcohol?
Oh,
Yeah.
see, we paused at the
Yeah.
time where they did the past form of a past form by adding ED to the past form.
What?
Yeah,
Yes.
as the wind blew past me. and he's gone!
And we done it, ladies and gentlemen.
So that's not
Oh,
the
God.
proper.
And then Super Potatoes said they don't make alcohol that tastes like trash and rubbing alcohol, and you can buy that instead. And I'm just sitting here like, excuse me, I'm actually buying like high quality alcohol here. It's just that I despise the taste of it.
Time the fuck out. You're in Vermont. What fucking high quality alcohol is there in fucking Vermont?
I have this
Fermented
Vermont
bear
Scotch,
piss.
Vermont bourbon. This is pretty good. Pretty good. Vermont maple bourbon, which is very good. I drink the what's that? Fucking I drink that Japanese one, Hoku, Toku, whatever the fuck it is. That
Hoku,
one's
Toku?
good. That one's really good. It's very smooth. It doesn't have the harsher taste most vodkas usually have. I mean, Black Kraken, you can go either way on in terms of, is this garbage alcohol, is this good alcohol?
I wish it wasn't garbage alcohol.
I have
It's like one of the only alcohols I can get around here.
really nice vodka back there. Okay, look. See, my standard for alcoholism is my family, and my family.
like
really
that's
low
not a good
standard.
thing.
yo.
My uncle doesn't consider himself an alcoholic, and he's got a alcohol cabinet, the size of my bedroom.
I mean,
Okay,
he
look,
could just be
That's
collecting
not
it.
hard. You live in a shack in some old lady's yard.
It's a very nice shack, thank you very much.
Sneaky, the shack still smells like engine grease.
It does not, thank you very much. It
Oh,
smells,
did you finally get that smell out, huh?
It smells like 20-year-old male and whatever my landlord is cooking that night, because we share air.
Wow.
Scandalous.
I imagine
Air should not
Sneaky
be
has a
shared.
fancy liquor cabinet. Well, I don't even have a dresser, so fancy liquor cabinet is definitely lower on the list of things I should probably buy than a dresser.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by fancy liquor cabinet. If you mean a corner with a bunch of bottles, that's a slipping hazard.
Okay,
Yes.
you know what? You can fuck the right off.
Wait, I was making a joke. Have I touched a nerve?
That is a completely valid way of storing alcohol, and I will not take this besmirchment.
See, I'm 99% sure he's kidding, but I'm 1% concerned as his friend.
No, I do store it in a corner, so I don't trip over it.
Yeah, okay, but Sneaky, I meant like the empty clinking pile, not just neatly stacked.
Well, that's a different corner.
Ah, that explains it.
The Sneaky's immune to falling? No!
No.
My
no,
most
no.
popular clip on my Twitch, in fact, disproves such a supposition. Now, if
Yeah.
you mean falling from alcoholism, yes. I have not fallen over from being drunk yet.
Hang on. I was in a call with you. You fell into the wall. I don't care that the wall's there.
That did
You
happen.
literally fall over.
That did happen, actually. Yeah, now that you mention that. The floor did, however, tilt at a 70-degree angle, so I had to rush towards the wall to stay standing.
Yeah,
I doubt that.
you
Yes.
you
Yeah, the
didn't
floor fucking
complete
falls.
face fall.
No, I
But
did
it was
not.
very close.
I had to use the wall as a bracing agent, and I'm going to stick to that story.
Is that the story you're sticking with?
Tension says he only drinks the finest of alcohols as well, namely Coca-Cola. Very good, Tension.
At least someone's responsible.
Now, I will say I am immune to the falling damage, because
Probably.
I've taken many trips and falls, and have gotten back up and were like, wow, that's a flesh injury beyond all flesh injuries. I'm just going to walk it off. And then
It's
that
still
works.
a flesh wound.
Yes, but it works. I
It probably shouldn't.
patched up 5-inch
10
deep
That
gashes.
sounds like a bad idea.
I patched up 5-inch deep gashes in my calf that was torn through by my bike gears when I crashed into a brick and mortar mailbox because I misjudged how many inches off I was by at least 2 feet.
No, that definitely sounds like you.
No, Ma,
Hmm.
Sneaky Skeleton is not one big callus. Sneaky Skeleton is wearing one big callus.
And I crashed, and the bike gears went through my leg, and I looked at that and was like, wow. Oh, I don't think I can use that leg to bike home. So, I, in my infinitely low wisdom stat, take out my water bottle, pour water on it, wrap my shirt around it, and then walk my bike home.
I can confirm this.
I
He
was
has
gonna say-
a hilariously low int stat.
wisdom, not inch, you idiot.
Wisdom. My wisdom
Well,
The closest
stat
I
is
got to that
low.
was
I'm sorry, I mixed up our low stats. I have low, you have low wisdom. Sorry.
Sneaky skeleton
was-
Scoutless, yes.
I would just say my bike riding horror story isn't quite as bad as Sneaky's. I was on one of the prairie paths in Illinois, and I got knocked off the side, and much like Sneaky, the pedal slammed into my calf and cut it up. But at the time, since it was like a church function that my parents forced me to go on this bike ride,
Yeah.
I was wearing a polo shirt, so I couldn't just get blood on that.
Well, you can't get blood on this.
I can't get blood on this. What would my parents say?
Do I just have a very high
Okay, hold
pain
on a minute.
threshold?
No,
Yes.
you've met my mother. You don't get to joke like that.
It's true.
I've-
she would actually,
I've heard your mother.
She would actually get mad at him for getting blood on something, even though he got fucking injured to hell in the neck.
Get shot. I can't believe you got blood on the shirt.
And you've got a bullet hole through it.
Basically.
But so instead, I resorted to. I went to the adults who were supposed to be in charge of this bike ride, and I was like,
Right.
"Yo, I've got this like inch-long gash down my leg. Can you like help me? We don't have anything." I see. So I ended up using lunch bags, brown lunch bags.
I'm sorry. That's
That's like the time that someone
No, but don't worry, they had hand sanitizer, so I was able to rub the bags down with hand sanitizer. and
to
wrap
answer
that
your
around me.
question, Super
oh yeah,
Potatoes.
that's smart. Let's just slap hand sanitizer right on in there.
Yeah, it's a sanitizer. What could go wrong?
Everything. Literally everything. Anyone with a lower pain threshold than 3 of us, everything can go wrong.
So
Oh, and let me be clear, that hurt like a son of a bitch, right?
Super Potatoes
Yeah,
asked if I have a really high pain threshold, and my answer to that is, one time in college, I was holding a loaf of bread and decided to use my bread knife to cut the bread that I was holding in my hand.
I see
And-
nothing wrong with this.
You're using a bread knife.
And I diagonally cut my entire palm open.
Oh, you idiot.
And I go, huh,
That's not
that's-
normal.
a lot of blood coming out of that. And I walk over to my computer and I go, sorry guys, I have to quit out of this Dota game. I think I just cut my hand really bad and it's bleeding everywhere. So I should probably get that taken care of. So I left my Dota game. Bleeding everywhere as blood's like pouring out of my hand. I'm just like, yeah. Gonna need
This is
some
my
duct
life.
tape and paper towels for this one.
I need some ligaments.
Oh, I was gonna say it's funny. There are many stories about knife safety in my family, and they all involve me because other people are dumb.
Wait. Hang on.
They all involve me because my family is dumb.
No. So the first time, technically it isn't knife safety; it's scissor safety, and it involves 2-year-old me and 4-year-old my brother.
Yeah, I cut my
Oh.
sister with the scissors one time because
Now,
she.
in my
Oh,
defense,
no, hold on a minute.
In my defense, my parents left me unsupervised at 2 with scissors, real
That's-
scissors.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not 2. I was
gonna say.
I was 16,
I was about to say.
and I
Well,
walked
okay,
into my
Nikki,
sister's room.
When you're done, I'll tell mine. Go.
I walked into my sister's room with a giant roll of packing tape. And I walked up behind her, grabbed her arms, put them together, wrapped them with packing tape, and then did the same to her legs. And she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm wrapping you in packing tape." She's like, "Oh, okay."
What?
The
What?
absolute state of my family.
Okay. Wait, was
Whatever.
this the sister
some
who
shit.
went to Greece and had the
Yes.
stuff?
Yeah. Yes.
You
And-
know, I was curious as to how someone could have like. That explains so much.
And so she's sitting there wrapped like a fucking worm in packing tape now. And I'm just like, alright, well, I'm bored now. She's like, wait, no. Let me out first.
Nah.
And I'm like, all right, you know what? I had my fun. I'll let you out. So I take scissors and I'm starting to cut all the tape away. And then I get to her hands and I'm trying to cut around her hands, but I wrapped them like a little bit too close. And so I just fucking. These, by the way, they're like the super sharp craft scissors.
Oh,
I just
no.
fucking chop
Oh.
straight through the entire area between her thumb and her hand. That little
Ow,
webbing
fuck.
area. Just
No.
I'm like, oh,
Asshole.
well, that's not too good. She's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing. You could.
Wait, hang on, I'm sorry. How sharp are these things that she didn't feel that?
That's a
It's
good question. Was it
Like,
just like a
No,
knife to
no,
the
Max,
butter?
Max, you don't understand. My entire family has a stupidly high-paid daughter.
Also, alternate
Most
question:
people
why
would
would
still
you
be like, why is that part between on my hand suddenly stinging?
Okay, here's my ultimate question: why didn't she say anything as you were wrapping her in packing tape?
She did. She said, "What are you doing?"
And then she just stopped.
And
didn't
I
say
told her I'm
anything else.
wrapping her in packing tape, and she just was like, oh, okay.
Like, that's my point. Like, she doesn't say anything
No,
else. It's
no,
like,
no. Remember what happened to this individual, and you just realize that this is just the prelude.
And so,
Ah, yes, I see.
and
She's
so I finished getting her out, and she raises her hand up. She's like, oh, I don't think there should be a giant cut right there. Looking at her hand, I'm like, yeah, I had an accident. And she's like, oh, you think a Band-Aid will fix this? I'm like, I have no idea.
I mean, theoretically,
Hmm.
So we go
I
down to my
guess.
mother, and she's like, ooh, that's a pretty big cut. And we're all just staring at it like, oh yeah, how do we put this back together?
yes, this is a cut.
The absolute state of my fucking family.
Yeah.
Yes, I see.
So my mother pours some fucking isopropyl alcohol on it. She's like, okay, well, that should make it good, I guess. And then we like pinch it together and we put tape on it again. And we just call it a day.
Hmm.
no words.
I mean, I guess.
What am I supposed to say?
The angle
I
wasn't
don't
good
know
for a
either.
Band-Aid, so we're just like, I mean, I guess more packing tape couldn't, not solve the issue.
No,
Hmm.
it doesn't solve the issue.
She's fine. Her hand's fine. It healed fine.
It just works. It just works.
And
I mean, that's kind of the human body in a nutshell.
to further the no pain train, there was a lawnmower that died on a hill, in the middle of us mowing the lawn, and so we had to push it back up the hill to get to the tool shed at the top of the hill. And
Oh boy.
this was a lawnmower that had been running for like 30 plus minutes now. So I'm like, all right, well, I just pop it in neutral and I push it all the way back up to the hill, and my dad's like, holy shit, are you okay? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, the lawnmower is literally hazing the air with how hot it is. I look at my hands, I'm like, oh, they're slightly red. He's like, what the fuck?
They're slightly red, he says.
I mean, I didn't blister. Sneaky's family. Yes, this is a thing that happened. I mean, look, my family is the kind of family that's like, ah, yes, we see some canoers over there on this camping trip of ours. Quick, get the giant catapult. We're gonna fire shit at them.
You
Okay,
and your
so to
family
say-
are perfectly suited.
So
for
the
each
story
other,
that
by the way.
happened with me, it involves a little setup. So the 101 Dalmatians had just come out, and McDonald's was giving away toys for it, right?
Yeah.
And my brother and I, we gotten like Happy Meals or whatever, and we were like, oh, we want to make little houses for the dog toys, right? Because
Right.
we're fucking 2 and 4. And so our parents give us some cardboard boxes, and my mom was watching us cut them up and making sure nothing bad happened. But she had to walk away for some reason. I forget what it was. And I was
mean, you
trying
were
to cut
2.
one of the corners, but I couldn't. Now, 2-year-old Zach didn't fully understand the principles of tension, but he'd seen people hold things taut to cut them.
Right.
So I tell my brother to hold this corner taut because I was doing the thing where you try
Oh.
to cut something with scissors and it just wilts.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so then I opened the scissors as
Oh.
wide as my stubby little 2-year-old hands could get
Oh
them,
no.
smashed them together, and remember,
Oh, God.
I don't have depth perception,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Mm,
right onto his middle finger.
yep. Nice.
ouch.
Right. Well,
I
at
guess
least
you cut.
at least you were a 2-year-old and not, say a 16-year-old.
I mean,
Yeah.
you cut right to the middle of the problem. So
He really got to the
True.
meat of the issue, you could say.
I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
have
was
a
gonna
similar
say.
story.
Then there was one time when I was being
Fuck
taught
you
how to
guys.
chop vegetables,
Yeah.
and I was
Oh
holding the
God,
knife
see,
upside
that's
down.
the other reason why I don't try to get too deep into cooking, because I'm just like chopping vegetables with my depth perception.
It's doable.
Just keep your fingers next to the knife. It's fine. Like on the side.
just
the
eat your fingers.
Yeah,
Eat your
that works
fingers.
too,
Yes.
I guess.
Hey, what are you saying?
Consume the finger.
Yeah,
Chopping
But
vegetables.
on a similar
Yeah.
story.
So I was
Mm,
chopping. I was being taught how to chop
Fuck you,
vegetables, but
Atin. Fuck
I
you.
picked the knife up upside down,
Yep.
and so so I was like trying to cut the vegetable, and obviously it wasn't working because I was cutting with the flat.
Right.
So I was going to press down with my
Ah,
hand to try to
yes.
force it out,
Yeah.
and
No.
my father, bless his soul, grabbed the knife.
Yes.
Now, I, being an incredibly stupid small child, was like, my dad's like, Zach, you need to call 911. And I was like, Dad, this wouldn't have happened if you hadn't grabbed the knife. You were the one who told me that. I'm pretty sure my father was too busy holding his finger onto his hand to slap the shit out of me as I richly deserved at that moment.
Truly, an excellent father and a genius moment abound. I will say, there's another imprisonment story for my sister. I also used to push her downstairs, by the way, so that might have built up her damage resistance a bit.
Good times.
So you pushed her downstairs, you wrapped her in packing tape, and you cut her. Are
Truly.
you sure this isn't just an abusive relationship?
No, see,
I'm starting to think it's his fault that she turned into what she is.
no,
Yeah, I'm
no,
beginning
no.
to think
She
that's
hung around with druggies. Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
but
but
you might have started
Ski,
her on her
After
messages.
living with you.
Like, this is how she started becoming a masochist.
A drug
no.
addict would seem tame compared to your brother tying you up in packing tape and then cutting your wrist.
So another
then
imprisonment story.
Stairs for good measure.
So, we
Wait,
have...
did you push her? Did you at least push her down the stairs in packing tape?
No, of course not. No, the shit I've done to my sister pales in comparison to the shit my father's done to his brother. So
Oh,
I
jeez.
No!
so therefore it's not as bad.
That is not how that works.
Tell us,
No.
please. What's the worst one you know about?
So we have multiple rooms in the basement at one of the houses we were in. And she went into this room, and the doors open outwards, and so I pushed a couch in front of the door. And so then I go upstairs. And as I walk into the living room, my father just turns to me and goes, Sneaky, did you, happen to, lock your sister in the room downstairs?
What'd you tell him?
Yeah?
I'm sorry. The way he asked that question.
Yeah, I might have. I might have pushed the couch in front of the door. He goes, yeah. So that would explain why she is currently banging on the floor of the living room. I was like, yeah, that would probably be why she's banging on it. Yeah, can you go let her out? Yeah, I'll let her out. Hour and 30 minutes pass. Dinner starts. Hey, Sneaky, did you remember to let your sister out? Oh, I knew I was forgetting something.
Oh my!
You are just.
It's official. It's your fault. She's as fucked up as she is.
It is. Let's go through it. You locked her in a room. You
Yeah.
pushed her downstairs.
Yeah.
You tied her up, basically.
Yeah.
And then you cut her.
Yeah.
Just. Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, it
I
pales in comparison to the shit that they did to me, so, it's all good.
Did they tie you up and did they cut you frequently? Did they push you down the fucking stairs constantly?
My older brother beat the shit out of me so much that I had to wear long sleeve shirts because I had a permanent bruise on each arm.
Okay, that's...
Gee, Christ. Did your
Yeah.
parents just not believe in CPS?
It's
I don't
Jersey.
think most of New Jersey believes in
I was
CPS,
gonna
to be
say,
honest.
This is New Jersey. CPS does not exist to the general populace.
CPS doesn't exist for the most part in Texas.
Texas is not a part of the
one
United
last
States,
story.
so-
We'll actually get back to the fanfic seriously this time.
Oh yeah, we should probably get back to the part where we're talking about like actual
to just
fanfiction.
further how my parents handle all this. So we were going to Six Flags one time. I was like 6 years old. My sister was like 4, and she wanted the book I was reading, and I kept telling her no because I'm reading it.
Yeah.
And so then she demanded that I hand the book to her because she wants it. And I'm like, you can't even read. She goes,
Oh.
I want it.
You can't read. Stop
So-
taking my book.
My 6-year-old mind proceeds to go, okay, you want the
I believe
book,
you've
you
shared
can
this
have
story.
it. So I wind back and crack it across
no.
her face.
Yep, I was
Yep.
like, this story is starting to sound familiar. Oh.
He's going.
Guys, I didn't cause my sister to become masochistic. Sneaky caught just like
I
the
didn't cause my
always...
sister permanent
So-
brain damage.
So, my
I'll give her
sister's
the
sitting
confused
there,
complex.
like, touching her face, going, ow, that hurt. Like, not crying, just going, ow, that hurt.
Gonna be honest. Like, the more I learn about your childhood, the more I'm just like, it sounds like it wasn't even. It sounds like some of those beatings might not have been undeserved from your older brother. Because
Oh, no,
your
he
family is just a cycle of revenge.
more or less, but no, he didn't beat me up because of that. He beat me up because my stepmother told him to because she didn't like me because the first day I met him, I punched him in the nose because he took my toy.
I refuse to believe that's the only reason.
Well, no, that's her cited reason because she went through this whole psychotherapy thing where she had to face her issues with everyone in her family because her family was a bunch of fucking a basket case of it in of themselves, and so she went through this whole therapy thing where she had to face her issues, and that's the reasoning she told me.
Okay, cool. Here's the problem with that, lady. You probably should have told him you should only retaliate, not preemptively murder.
And so
Preemptive murder, though, is the best.
anyway,
kind.
so my sister again isn't crying about this, by the way. And my mom gets back in the car and she goes, "Mommy, my face hurts. Sneaky hit me." And my mom turns around and goes, "Oh my God, you're bleeding out of your nose and your mouth.
God.
What did you do, Sneaky?" I'm like, "She wanted the book, so I gave it to her."
To be fair, you didn't punch her, you just threw the book at her.
That's still pretty bad.
And so my mother goes, "All right, you know what? We're not going to Six Flags then."
Well, I mean, it did set a precedent for her getting the book thrown at her.
This, be real.
That
This
was
makes the occasional things that I did to my brother seem like I feel guilty because of the things I did to my brother, and I'm like, wow, I am partly responsible for many of the issues because I was a terrible, violent human being.
I like that I'm sitting here with the only person here with a
Max is like
dysfunctional
the only
family.
person with like a...
No, my brother's a fucking cunt. But I never did a thing to him. He always started the fights.
But Max always ended them.
No, here's the thing. He'd only ever get one hit and then he'd stop. The one time I actually took a swing back, it shocked the fuck out of him. He didn't mess with me for probably a solid couple of years. I'm pretty sure the only reason he's never gotten violent with the rest of the family is because when I was like 17, I told him straight up when he nearly took a swing at one of my parents. I told him, I don't care how old you get or how old I get. You ever take a swing at anyone in this family, you're going in the fucking hospital room.
Fair enough. No, I know
That
I said that
definitely
was the
sounds
last
like
story,
Max.
but this
It's
is
the quiet ones you have to worry about because unfortunately we do a lot of reading and some of us absorb weird knowledge.
yeah,
Like,
how to
oh hey,
punch.
did you know there's the pressure point like right in the elbow?
Boom.
It fucking
While
hurts.
you were fighting, I studied the blade.
I studied the pressure points.
I'm sorry, Max, but that's exactly what that
Uh,
sounds like.
I know I said that was the last story, but that actually wraps into what Max is. So I ended up actually meeting my older brother again a few years later because he went off to college and whatnot, and he finally came home because he graduated, and then the first thing he did when he saw me was he said, "Hey, Sneaky," and I was like, "Hey," and I kept playing my game, and he says, "No, hey, Sneaky." Yeah, hi. And I kept playing my game, and so he, of course, walks up to me and starts choking me out.
What?
And he's like, "You were gonna look at me when I say hello to you." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, this is how this is going." So then I proceed to nat 20 my acrobatics check and wrap my legs around his neck and go, "If you don't let go, I'm going to drag you to the ground and snap your neck." And he goes, "All right." And then he lets go and we don't talk to each other anymore.
Okay, so you might be a sociopath. He might be a psychopath.
We've known Sneaky's a sociopath.
He also weeped the entire first year he was in college. He cried every weekend if his mom didn't come up and visit him.
Wow.
That's sad.
He broke up with his girlfriend of 11 years, who, by the way, they stayed together even though they went to different colleges states away. 11 years. He broke up with her because she wanted to get her doctorate in medical science in Pittsburgh.
Oh wow.
And he didn't want to move that far away from his mom.
Oh my god.
He could have just kept a
I'm
long-distance
sorry.
relationship.
I'm
That's number one. Number two, that's a Nero complex right there. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Practically verging on an Oedipus complex. Let's be real.
yeah, no, that's
I don't know enough to say Oedipus.
He
so I'm
went
just gonna
he
go
went
ahead
through
and-
3 different girlfriends after that in like the span of a year, and they all looked like a B grade version of his original girlfriend. They were all awful until the final one, who was actually like a semi decent human being, but still was like a C grade version of what his original girlfriend looked like. I'm not even kidding. It looked like someone badly photoshopped a copy of her. That, like, look, don't get me wrong. She looks fine. She looks normal though. His original girlfriend was like a 9 out of 10 in looks and like a 10 out of 10 in personality, and could possibly match Max in sainthood.
Wow.
Also, she was going for her fucking doctorate in medical science.
which
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the kind of thing where you
yeah.
go, yeah, you go get that. I'll just stay home.
Like Christ.
I will stay home and I will be here for you. If you call saying you need me to come up for the weekend, I'm on the way.
Yeah, like
Where's my
fucking
Ryan Gosling gift?
Christ.
I need my Ryan Gosling.
But yeah, so
gift.
he's married now to the C grade knockoff version of her.
It could have been worse. You could have said like his original girlfriend looked similar to his mother. 'Cause
No, they did not look similar at all. It was just she was
Well,
such a
'cause-
pretty nice woman.
So here's the thing. I got 2 cousins, right? Brother and sister. When I finally got to meet the male cousin's fiance shortly before their wedding,
Oh, it was a mother, wasn't it? It looked like a mother.
from a distance, it looked like his sister, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. What's he doing
Mm.
with cousin? What's he doing with cousin B? Oh, that's his soon-to-be wife.
Oh boy.
I was just like, oh god, he's
Alabama, home
Alabama,
and
here I come.
it was and here's the thing. I'd first heard about it from my parents,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh, surely they're like just exaggerating.
But yeah.
and I got to meet the fiance. It's like, oh,
Such
there
is
was-
life. But you know what else is life? Reading edgy stories from a edgy author who thinks that they are cool.
Why didn't he keep the long distance thing going? That's what we've been
That's
talking
that's
about.
honestly that's what my entire family genuinely was unified on this question. Okay, we literally all called each other and were like, "Did you hear about what older brother did?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on there." And they're like, "Yeah, what the fuck?" Like genuinely, my entire family loved her.
Well, because she was probably like the
No,
nicest
listen,
person
there
they've
comes
ever
a
met.
certain point in every family when a member of that family will date someone that the rest of the family's like, can we just trade you for the person you're dating?
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was such a just what the fuck moment. And as far as why didn't they keep the long distance thing going, I think she put her foot down because she wanted to move and then possibly work in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's a little bit of a distance away from Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Just a bit.
Just a wee bit.
Just a wee tad. And so she was like, I want to be in Pittsburgh. And he was like, well, I don't want to be outside of 10 minutes from my mother. And so she
That's pathetic.
broke up.
That's really
that's
pathetic.
like, here's the thing. That's really, really bad because usually it's the other way around. Usually it's like, oh, I don't want to be so far away from my kid. Like,
Even
my
though
mom
he's
hated the
married.
first week of me being in Alabama for university.
Yeah.
Oh no! Even though he's
Shit.
married, he still hasn't moved outside of 10 minutes.
No, even worse. Even though he's married
Oh boy.
with his own house,
Uh-huh.
he still has his own personal room at his mom's house.
Mm.
You remember when we were talking about Oedipus complexes earlier? I think this is the Oedipus complex. we were talking
Meanwhile,
about.
my family has fully realized that I am never fucking coming back and have completely changed my room out for other shit.
Good.
As they should.
That's just a moment of like, thank you for not making this weird.
Yeah, that is something that comes up with my dad occasionally, where he's just like, I am so glad you are the only child of 5 that has not moved back in with us.
By the way, I gotta say, I like how you went from like the problem child to the golden child, back to the problem
I
child.
am
and
the
now-
only child that has not caused them issues in my adult life.
Like, I don't understand why you would want to move back in with your parents. Like, speaking as someone who currently, unfortunately, lives with their parents, I want to leave. What?
Nothing.
Free rent, though.
Free rent is not worth it.
No, it's never worth it because it's just a constant stream of when are you getting a job? Why aren't you monetizing what you're currently doing? Can't you play your games online? Don't those kids play the games online for money? Why don't you have your own website yet?
Yeah, it's just that constantly. It's
But-
not a fun experience.
Anyway.
Never do it.
Making my hair and cloak sway with it.
Still have a half hour of
Then-
garbage.
Out of the fog, I
bet you
started to
hear it
hear
now.
the sounds of footsteps walking towards me. I turned just in time to see a lone figure emerging from the fog, and it was a girl.
Does she play Dota? Are you gamer?
A girl with animal ears, a tail, and a
Girl
pair
gamers.
of red eyes that gave off a faint but beautiful glow. I was all shook for a moment as she slowly extended her arm and held out a hand to me. Without hesitation, of course, I proceeded to walk towards her and reached out to grab her hand as the sun continued to rise behind me. M'lady. I'm just kidding, I added that one part.
No.
Try though.
I'm glad you specified adult life because your childhood sounds like you caused them nothing but issues. I absolutely was the largest non-surgically removable thorn in my entire family's side since I have existed.
We're pretty sure it was on purpose.
It was at first accidental, but then it was on purpose.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like you.
Suddenly, I gasped, opening my eyes wide, waking up in my bedroom, realizing that it was nothing more than a dream. Also, this author really loves commas. Holy shit. Another glorious, boring day in paradise, I said to myself, after letting out an annoyed sigh. Talking, of course,
It's like William Shatner trying
in a
to
very
make
sarcastic
story.
tone, as I finally managed to scrape myself out of bed at 2 in the afternoon. Well, Jesus Christ, holy shit, 2 in the afternoon.
The
What are you
what?
fucking, you a stock trader? Jesus. I had spent the majority of the previous night doing what I usually do with myself these days, beating heavy meat.
See,
Not that, but basically that, because just wait
I was
for
going to
it.
say, but that.
Watching anime, playing video games, and wishing that I could trade places with the main characters from both.
See, that sounds more like a pathetic escapism fantasy in that you desperately need some mental health. Speaking
I
as someone who once had that problem.
definitely have an escapism fantasy. I 100% do.
And let's be
I
clear,
just also
that
fully
is-
recognize that I am never going to escape my life, and I have just accepted that my life's likely going to be shit until I die.
I say
think that-
also,
I
let's
think
be
you
clear,
require
there's a
actual
difference between
help.
a healthy amount of escapism and whatever this guy's doing.
True enough. I mean,
Yep.
he did have such a level of escapism that he did isekai into Shield Hero.
Yeah, his thing,
Like-
that's probably, he probably passed out from drinking too much Mountain Dew and it's a coma.
I suppose I should introduce myself
No need, none of us care.
to myself, because apparently I am semi-meta aware that I am in a story, so clearly I'm now going to think thoughts that introduce me to me, but also to the people reading about me. My name
Introduce me to
is
me.
Damian. Damian Abyss.
It's Damien.
One could say that's really deep.
One could say it's really stupid.
We're mostly saying it's really stupid.
Get it? Damn, I'm an abyss.
Please stop talking.
He will not.
21 years old, high school graduate, and a college dropout, currently unemployed and a hardcore otaku. I live in America, North Carolina, and I am still sharing a home with my parents and 3 younger siblings. Wow, I am not surprised by that string of statements.
I don't think anyone is.
Fucking crap.
Why
It's
the
like
fuck
he-
is he talking to the
doesn't-
audience? As far as I am
Oh.
concerned, it takes you out of the story. Yeah. Well, I don't. So the sort of meta awareness thing, it can be funny. It can also be very weird and out of place because sometimes the fanfiction authors will include this semi-meta awareness of like, oh, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about this. Sort of thing in, and then just never the rest of their story just never makes those sorts of comments again. Just usually in the starting chapter where it's like they want to explain something but they don't know exactly how to explain it. Spoiler alert to anyone listening: don't do this, obviously, unless of course you're trying to portray the story itself to be some sort of literal story, such as, I know everyone's going to take out the pitchforks and torches for this, Dragon Age 2. In where the story of Dragon Age 2 is literally a story being told to another character. Because you'll have constant breaks in the story where the character interrogating the storyteller is like, no, tell me about this part. And that's how the acts end and then begin in another time period, because it is the storyteller telling the story. Literally. And you are just, quote, playing it out. That sort of meta-ness can work if you're doing like, this is a where you end it where it's like, if you're reading this, this is my, unfortunately, I failed. And then you start telling the story, or you some point reveal that it's like some sort of recording or an autobiography of yours, something like that. Therefore, because you've made it plot tied in, you can sort of get away with, quote, talking to the audience, unquote. But the whole talking to the audience thing typically doesn't work because it breaks up the flow of whatever you're trying to set. And also can create, depending on how often you do it, false expectancies of a pattern in the story. Pedro, you have a lot of work to do. Get to work. I don't pay you to do nothing. I don't pay you at all, but stop doing nothing.
Birdie, you did not show up and start the party. You have never actually showed up and started talking.
If it's used for humor, then it tends to require a specific style. Yeah, pretty much exactly that. Characters like Deadpool and other meta-aware characters can usually get away with it, but if it's a parody-like story where it's like a sour-bridged Kirito going, that's what the trope would say we should do, and shit like that. You know, because it's a humor-oriented story, or it's specifically a story that's making fun of other stories similar to it, you've already set the flow of the story to include those sorts of jokes, so when they come up, it doesn't seem out of place.
Indeed.
Because you have to keep in mind when you're writing the narrative, you have to keep in mind the perspective of the narrative. So in this case, it would be a first person or third person perspective narrative, because it does use I, so it is sort of first person. But it looks like it also gets into, yeah, it's mostly first person. And when you do first person narrative, and the reason why first person narrative is so hard is specifically due to first person narrative is dictated by how someone thinks. Like, if you are a normally non-observant person like me, like, I walked into work today and was said, oh hey, it's the 5th.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone!
Too bad it's ruined by Corona!
I was thinking you went Italian for that.
Because it's the Italians making
It's
fun
the
of the
closest
Spanish.
he can get to Mexican. He's too stupid.
What you doing, ese?
He's too stupid to be Mexican.
The Corona!
2020.
No, the problem is my Spanish inevitably sinks into Italian. Take from that what you will.
I mean, they are based on Latin, so I guess it's just because you learned a lot of Latin and therefore you went for Italian and Latin American.
So, but as I was saying, back to the narrative part.
Moving on.
When you go in first-person narrative, the problem is the narrative is obviously going to be a imprecise narrator. You're going to have biased opinions of what is happening in the scene. You're going to have limited information. Unless you go with first-person omniscient, which is even harder to pull off because then you have to distinct to the audience. You have to make it clear what the character's first-person perspective sees and then what you, the audience, know. And that's even harder, as you can imagine, trying to delineate both without ruining the flow of the story and the narrative. But a first-person narrative is going to typically be a biased, not completely accurate narrative. And that presents problems because, like I said, if you're an unattentive character, you have, or you're a very specifically focused character, say like Shiro, for example, who wouldn't really pay too much attention to the people on the street, but oh hey, that guy's got a knife that's pretty interesting to look at. He's got a long history behind that knife, and hey, did you know he once used that knife to stab 3 people? That's
Given all your stories, is Jersey just a giant prison? Are you American Australia?
Okay, let's be clear here. You guys came from us. Because we were part of the 13 original colonies. So,
I live in
No.
Massachusetts. You can shut the
No,
fuck up
here's
and
the
fuck
thing.
off.
They were the original prison colony.
Okay, look, we were one of the first landing locations, so y'all can fuck the right off.
Motherfucker,
Just
I live
because,
in
yeah,
Massachusetts.
you were one of the
Fuck
first
off.
landing locations where we put all the criminals.
Look,
There's
just
a
because
reason
we
for-
had the Italian mob, the Irish mob, and the government. Wait, hold on. No, I was
I'm
right.
literally
And the
sitting here in
government
Massachusetts-
show up in New Jersey doesn't mean we are the landing location for criminals.
I'm just sitting here in Massachusetts laughing at you trying to think that you're the first place for criminals.
Massachusetts didn't have a whole lot of criminals. Except
Yeah, they
They
had
had
Protestants.
witches.
Oh, I'm sorry. They had the.
No, let's be clear here. Protestants in the New World were not criminals. They were just
Those were-
crazy.
what do you say? They were kind of the opposite. They were crazy assholes who left because nobody else liked them.
I do like how they originally went to the Dutch, and the Dutch were like, "Yes, we welcome you with open arms because we believe in religious freedom here." And then after
And then
like,
they were
set the
like,
church on
"You
fire.
people
Out,
are too
out,
free."
out.
yeah, after like a year and a half, they're like these fucking Dutch and their non-Protestantisms, and then they left. First person omniscient is the MC a god? No. I don't know if it's a first person omniscient. I'm just saying when you do write first person omniscient, you do need to delineate the difference between what the character knows and what the audience knows. It's very important because then people will be like, well, why doesn't the character just do this? You wrote it in the story. It's like, well, the character didn't actually see that. You, the audience, know that because I am bad at writing. But
And it
things
takes a
that
lot of
people
guts to
often
admit
get
that.
wrong in first person narrative perspective is shit like, my name is Damien and I am 6'4" and currently wearing a shirt. Literally, no one in existence has like gotten out of their chair, walked over to a mirror, looked in the mirror and gone, yes, my name is blank and I am a 6'4" super wrestler, and this is my backstory, and here are the clothes I am currently wearing. Just
Hold on,
in
let me
case
just list-
anyone's currently reading my thoughts.
Let me just list off all of my credentials for the audience at home. Wink to camera.
Wink to... Yeah, this is just the fucking Office, except fan fiction. But yeah, no, it's exactly like that, where it's just like if you normally would not think it, I highly doubt your character is going to think it. Like, walking up to your refrigerator isn't going to remind you of that time that the entire village chased after you and then stabbed you multiple times with pitchforks and burned your wounds shut with torches. And so that's why you have a stream of scars across your chest that will never heal properly.
Like, if they're gonna have some kind of stupid thought process like that, at least have them do it like when they try to go. They're like, I turned on the burner to go cook, my ramen or whatever, right? Like,
It's like I turned on the burner. I can still remember the
pain of the flames as the villagers
Yeah, something
shoved
like that.
torches in my chest or something.
I turned on the burner and oh fuck it. I'm trying to think of some way like they accidentally like touch the burner as they're doing something. Oh no! I turn on my oven, and as I'm putting the thing in, my hand hits the rack, and it burns me instantly, sending me back to the time that I was burned alive by the villagers. Then that's a segue. That's actually a actual segue because PTSD is a thing, and you can establish your character's history. That they obviously have issues with their history. The character itself has issues. You can lead into a whole bunch of personality explanations with that. that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen anymore. Let's be honest here. That never fucking happens anymore. People don't know how to write anymore.
all they know is how to write scripts because script writing gets you the big dollars.
Yeah. They need a reason to connect action to trauma. There's nothing on your mind, Burb. Yeah. But, so first-person narrative is very difficult to write because there's a lot of details in your story that your audience is going to be like, what? That's really out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, well, shit, in my notes, everything that happened actually happened for a reason, but the audience never saw it because it was all first-person narrative. And that is why first-person narrative is very difficult, especially if your character isn't Sherlock fucking Holmes. because you do end up missing a lot of plot relevant detail usually because people don't typically pick up a lot.
I mean, honestly, having a Sherlockian Holmes character would be better, like, seeing it from a first-person perspective, because then you can just, like, act out
Well,
that whole, like, their
as I was
thought process to the characters.
as
Like, you can
I
just have the-
said I think I said this last time around is the whole problem with writing genius characters is that you have to convince the audience that they're smart, and usually you have to write a character that's smarter than you, which means you have to write the character that makes them look smart, but in a narrative fashion that displays their intelligence, that makes them look smarter than you are with how you explain it to the audience.
Which, as I mentioned at that time, Sherlock Holmes was based off of two people that Conan Doyle worked with.
Right, exactly.
In fact, one of the Sherlock Holmes stories, one of them actually is written by Sherlock himself within the narrative, and he himself is like, I'm going to try to emulate Watson, and he doesn't do as good a job,
Exactly.
which is actually really interesting. I don't know if that was intentional on Doyle's part or not, but like,
Supposedly it was.
I would like to hope it was.
What are the two methods? Doylean and what's the other method?
I have no idea. My first proper introduction to mystery was Sherlock Holmes.
No,
And that
no,
was...
no. I'm talking about methods of narrative. It's Doylean and
Oh, I still have no idea.
Was it another like noir detective or what? Like,
let's see, Watsonian versus Doyleist. Yes, here we go. When a creator answers a question about their work, they should provide the answer in universe, or should they provide the answer in real life? The former is a Watsonian perspective, while the latter is a Doyleist. The terms reference Sherlock Holmes. The Watsonian commentary refers to Dr. Watson, Holmes' friend, and supposed chronicler, in-universe chronicler of the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. While Doyleist commentary refers to Arthur Conan Doyle, the real-life author of the Holmes story. The fan mailing list. Watsonian or in-universe commentary restricts itself to making statements that are sensible to the story's narrative reality. Watsonian explanations are things like, character X was lying, he had plastic surgery over the summer, and the main character, fell off a cliff. A more precise technical term for this is intradiegetic. Tropes which take generally Watsonian perspective include anthropic principle, author saving throw, retcon, death of the author, fan wank, frigid brilliance, frigid horror, and hand wave in-universe justified trope, head scratching, and wild guessing. Doyleist, or out-of-universe commentary, considers the work of the created object and prefers an explanation based on real-world motivations or circumstances. Doyleist explanations are things like, the author had a better idea, the author died so they had to hire a new one,
bless you.
the author got sick of writing the book so he killed off the main character, etc., etc. So basically, when a main character dies, or etc., the in-universe example could be the big bad had a final, final form, so to speak, a final item, a final plan, a final counter that he knew the hero would get this far, so he planned this, blah, blah, blah. While meanwhile, a Doyleist example would be, yeah, I just got tired of writing this character, so he's dead now.
He got shot by a street tough.
It's like, well, I'm really sick of writing this, so off a waterfall with you. And then going, oh shit, no one will read my other stuff because I'm actually a pretty bad writer when I'm not writing an asshole.
Wild bow. Cough. Cough. Wild bow. Cough.
That was still one of the more interesting things that I learned going through the Sherlock Holmes collection.
What?
Oh no, the waterfall thing. That's what Doyle did. He had
Oh,
Sherlock Holmes go up a
yeah.
waterfall because he wanted to move on to other things. But
And
again,
then people ended up demanding more more fiction of Sherlock Holmes. So he ended up writing prequels.
Well,
to
no,
the
no.
stories.
See, let's be clear. It was
No,
a
no, no,
combination
no,
of his
no.
other stuff didn't sell at all.
Sneaky,
Yeah.
he didn't write prequels. He just brought Sherlock Holmes back.
I thought he
just
was
brought
writing
him back from the
prequels.
dead.
Nope.
No.
He just went.
So the way it happened was that Watson was like, I brought out some of my older stories, but the next story. So the next story of Sherlock Holmes, I think, was The Hounds of Baskerville, which was Sherlock Holmes is dead, but here's one of our old case files. And then after
Yes.
that, he made another story in which, hey, Sherlock Holmes is alive because he just yeeted Moriarty off the cliff using jujitsu.
Right. Let's see. Underplayed Creation says, but wait, is that where you use interludes? No, to make up for things the MC can't see. So the interludes are a complicated relationship with stories. So in most stories, it's a continuous narrative, and you typically don't want to break up that narrative because it can start to pull the reader out of their story and start to show the flaws in both the story and the character's thinking. Sometimes, however, they can be useful. For example, in Aragon, there was these mini chapters, I guess you could call them. Like, they weren't like full chapters, but they were mini sections of a chapter where it would switch to Ira's point of view when she was being captured. And it served to heighten the tension because the whole goal early on in Aragon was to save this character that he was getting visions from, Ira. And so each interlude-ish section where it became Ira's perspective, where she was tortured and questioned and just horrible things were done to her and her companions as they were slowly killed off one by one, and then it was just her left. And it starts to ratchet up the tension of, oh, is the hero going to save her in time? And because Aragon's obviously a new series at this time, no one really knew what the author was going to do because he was also an unknown author. He had, as far as I'm aware, never written any other...
it was his first book, yeah.
Yeah, it was his first book. And so it's entirely possible that the author was just be like, nope, Aragon doesn't get there in time and Ira dies. And he uses this as a growing moment for Aragon. Or Aragon does get there in time and Ira doesn't die. And even during the rescue attempt from Aragon for Ira, it was still highly tensioned because the readers, due to the interludes, knew exactly the sort of state that Ira was in, which, drugged to hell and back and basically incoherent.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fun time for anyone.
And then they could then be impressed by how well she was holding it together, how capable she was at fighting, because it really was then able to show off to the readers that her kind of personality, her perseverance, her sturdiness, etc. And you can use that for characters because you get to use an outside perspective to both give a sense of time passing, to give a sense of tension racketing, where normally if you're just like, oh yeah, character got a vision and it's a woman being tortured, and the audience is like, okay, well, it's whatever. But now the audience has to read about what this character is going through from that character's perspective, and that makes them more interested and more invested in both that character and the rescue attempt, which is the main plot of that part of the story. And it's a good technique, but it can also be used poorly. Obviously, everything can be used poorly. A interlude used poorly, as we see so often in Worm fanfics, where it's just like, Taylor does thing. Now for this character's perspective of Taylor doing thing. Now for this character's perspective of Taylor doing thing. Now for this character's perspective of Taylor doing thing. Now for this character's perspective of Taylor doing thing. Taylor does another thing. Rinse and repeat. It can quickly drag people out if it's not properly set, if it's not properly in flow with the pattern you set for the story, the beats you've set
Also,
for the story.
Something to jump in with.
Mhm.
Interludes don't always have to add directly to the story. Great example of this is Wheel of Time, where sometimes Robert Jordan would just be like, you know what? We have an interlude. This interlude is about some bumpuff farmer that I've never talked about, and what Satan breaking out of hell is doing to the world, and here's what happened to this one farmer, right?
Right.
And you'll never hear about him again, but he uses that to both help, like you said, ratchet up the tension, establish stakes, and give people a view of what's going on in the world. And it has nothing to do with any other character we've ever met ever, right? You don't have to focus on the main character.
Right, and the other thing interludes were used for in I believe it was Eldest, was it showed the perspective of Aragon's brother, like literally everything that happened after Aragon had left the village, the invasion from the Empire, the occupation, the brutalities, them eventually saying no, we want freedom and fighting back, and
Still, the best part about those books.
Roaring the Iron Hammer or whatever the fuck it was. That originally when I first read the books, I didn't like that section. But as I started to reread the books, because this was before I had discovered more books and fan fiction, as I began to reread the books, I got more invested in the Roran angle because I really liked Roran in the end.
Because his angle was actually some of the best written stuff.
Yeah. Because he's literally just a guy who is the brother of the main character, and everyone looked at him because they're like, "Well, you know, Aragon's saving the world. What about you?" And he's like, "I just hunt deer."
He's like, "What the fuck do you want me to do here?"
And then he ends up braining a soldier who was threatening someone with a hammer, and they're all like, "Ruin of the hammer!" And he's like, "Look, it's a really good hammer to beat people with. It's also a forge hammer, and you know, fuck
By
it,
the
I
way-
guess we're gonna go fight for freedom."
By the way, it wasn't until I read through the Wheel of Time that I don't know if he read Wheel of Time, but the main character, Perrin,
Okay.
one of the three. Well, he's not one of he's one of the secondary main characters, right?
Yes.
He is from the same village, right? The three mains are from the same village, and they're
Right.
all basically big important people who fate sucks off.
Right.
He's a blacksmith, and he originally starts out with a hammer, or he starts out with an axe, and someone goes, you know, someday you're gonna have to get rid of that axe because you're a very gentle person and you are not meant for combat.
Right.
And so he eventually starts using a blacksmith's hammer as a weapon because he's like, because I can destroy or build with this. And it's like,
yeah.
the more you read, it's like, boy, you ripped it off really poorly.
It's Aragon was good when I was a child. But as I grew older and read more stories, especially stories like the Chronicles of Drizzt, which
Okay, one moment. Let's not compare that garbage to.
No,
slightly
hold
less
on.
work.
Hold on a minute. Let's be clear. The Chronicles of Drizzt is garbage.
okay, no, let's be clear here. The Drizzt is garbage.
Yes.
Literally,
you're right.
the rest of the Chronicles of Drizzt, all the side characters, the world building, even the narrative itself, and how how the world is introduced through the narrative, are fucking excellent. Like, wow, excellent. I didn't see that coming, but now looking back on it, it makes perfect sense. Levels of excellent. Like, shit just was like, okay, you know, I didn't expect this to happen, but then if you go back and reread it and you're like, oh, well, this little thing here and that little thing there, and
like, literally everything with Wolfgar coming back was so much more interesting because it's like right? It was amazing because it's like, I've been brought back to life. And then he goes, why the fuck did you do that?
yeah.
Why am I here in this hell?
But literally everyone but Drizzt is just such an interesting character. Like, Jarlax. It's just great.
Yo, when they announced he was getting his own book series, I was like, I am in. Because
Wait,
right,
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, he's getting his own book series.
well, so
Neat.
so they started introducing it, right? So first they had a series of books with him like finally just being Drizzt's surrogate dad. That was like what? Was it 2 or 3 books, Sneaky? And they're
I think
super
it was
recent.
2-ish books, yeah.
Um,
It was post the Neverwinter Hammer, Neverwinter King.
yeah, well, yeah, I was gonna say it was post whatever weird thing happened where we had good Drizzt, but then we were gonna have evil Drizzt, but then we had that whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one of those weird things. But then, so there was like 2 books of him being a surrogate dad, and then they're like, okay, now Jarlax is just gonna get his own books.
I want more Elminster stories, especially like the time that Mistra turned Elminster into a woman and he had a kid. Yeah.
That whole thing was weird.
We don't talk
Look,
about that.
Elminster is just such a fucking wild trip. Also, I really enjoyed how wizards were portrayed in Drizzt. Where it's like, use a spell, and the guy's like fucking fumbling through his pouch. He's like, what fucking spell do you want me to use? I have like acid, I have a giant hand. Fuck you, I'm gonna use the icicle.
It's one of those things, right? It's like Dragonlance did another great job of portraying wizard, right? They're like, it's like, yes, Riceland is super useful, but you also have to baby the shit out of him.
Or the time they had the 2 wizards in the party, and the wizards are like, oh yes, they had this swarm of low level basically mobs coming at
Oh,
them,
yeah.
like, oh yeah, stylized fireball, portable hole, giant mage hand fist punch, and they're using all their spells, and then the big bad shows up, and they're like, yeah, we just used all of our spells, and they're like, really? You guys used all your spells in a pissing contest?
That sounds exactly like a proper wizard.
It really is. They're all the proper wizard is an egotistical, stuck-up sort of person in general, because to be a wizard, you literally have to study your existence out. Because to cast spells as a wizard, you have to be a normal. Well, you don't have to be a normal human, but a typical wizard is a normal human who has just so thoroughly studied the idea of a spell that when they say the words, it happens, regardless of the fact that they have no magical parentage whatsoever. They're just so thoroughly convinced and have memorized the spell and every intricacy of reality so well that when they want a spell to happen, it does.
Unlike sorcerers who are cheating bitches.
Yes. Or warlocks who sucked off a demon for their power.
Like I hate sorcerers less than I hate warlocks, because the sorcerer, it's like, oh, how'd you get your magic? Well, X parent had sex with Y thing. That's
I mean, also
super magical. And it's
also
like, all right,
sorcerers are just
fine.
like the constant epic meme class that everyone uses.
Well, I mean, yes, but you're just butthurt that I used Wild Mage and you didn't realize the ramifications of such.
I've never played with you when you've gone Wild Mage.
Yes, you did. Fucking moron. The Dead 5e campaign we had.
I thought you were a bomb goblin.
The
I thought
other
that was
one!
Pathfinder game.
Oh, the other one.
The one where
Oh,
I
you
set
know-
fire to the forest.
Hey, if you want, I'm pretty sure I've still got recordings of the Pathfinder that got canceled because of
Oh,
Sneaky.
God.
Do you want me to send you those as a reminder?
Pathfinder
Mhm.
that got canceled. Yeah, that sounds like me. But no, so anyway, yeah, narrative is very important, and how you portray the characters is very important, and it's also very important you pay attention to how the perspective will affect all of that. Yeah, we got a little bit away from ourselves, but yeah, let's wrap this chapter up. We'll take any final questions and call it a night, even though we're a little bit past 9 because we're sort of waiting for the Lupine horror to show up, and we could read his new fanfic, which is a
But he showed up.
My Hero
Oh.
Academia Fate Grand Order crossover.
You heard that correctly.
Sounds.
It's utter fucking garbage. It is. In the summary alone, there was like 5 red flags.
Anyway, I'm gonna go get dinner because we're officially done here.
Yes, technically we're officially done here. Yes, thank you for your contributions, Atin.
I'll be back later. I just want to go get my food.
Anyway,
You
so
need to get
the
his food,
main
ladies and
character
gentlemen.
stands up. Yeah, literally. So the author, all that ranting that I did about first-person perspective and what can and can't be passed through and passed on to the audience, literally he does exactly the shit I was talking about in terms of what not to do. I
Yeah.
got out of bed and stretched, and then I looked in a mirror and I was like, yes, I am athletic but average, and I am 6 feet high with neck-length black hair, which was totally messy, and I had devil horns on each side of my head, and my eyes looked like water, and my body was lean yet muscular, and despite being antisocial, I totally worked out every single day, and I was an otaku and a shut-in, and I wear red shirts, sometimes black shirts, with black pants, and white socks, and gray shoes. Why are you putting on shoes in your fucking house?
Better be because he's about to walk out that fucking door.
Somehow his new story is worse than Fate's Gamble. Yeah, I know, Nexus, I know.
Oh boy, is it another version of like I kept reading this, but I don't know if I like it or not.
Let me read you the summary, okay? Let me give you a sneak peek of this fucking summary, right?
All right.
Okay, let me. It was. He missed the perfect name too, right?
Okay.
It was like heroic of spirit or some stupid shit like that, right? Only 33 stories of it.
It was Heroes of Spirit, is what he called it.
Yeah, how many stories have updated April 8th?
Izuku Midoriya is a hero fanboy. Even he can't deny that. However,
Wait, what the fuck?
heroes
It's not even
haven't
here.
always been
What?
government-sponsored law
Did he
enforcement.
delete it? Or do you need to go to his profile page?
I
I need to
might
go to
need
his
to go to
profile.
his profile page. What the fuck?
And entertainers. In other places and other times, many different people have been called heroes, some more deserving and others less so. Let's see what Izuku
Oh.
thinks of a few heroes no one knows of. Disclaimer, this is fanfiction. I only own the plot.
Wait, fucking, oh, damn, Grand Order finally got its own section?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, that
What?
explains it. For the
the
longest
one
time,
hand,
Grand Order has just been lumped into Stay Night.
On the one hand, boy, that took a long time. On the other, I don't know, guys. Nasu, there should literally just be a section titled
Nasu, yeah.
First. Like just that.
Anyway, so, yeah, as Gray was saying, Heroes of Spirit. Like, literally, if you were going to write the story he was currently writing, heroic spirit. A heroic spirit. Literally, he fucking missed out on the best name you could have used. A heroic spirit. He's talking about Izuku's spirit in the summary. Just.
There is a reason we get so
mean,
fed up with that fucking idiot. Waste of
I want to point out, by the way, Depending on the contents of the story, you could even just ape the video game's title of One's Justice.
Exactly! Exactly!
Oh, you know what? All right. A fake crossover with Hero Academia involving Shiro Emiya should just be One's Justice.
Exactly! It's like
Hell
such
yes.
good names! Like, you could get such great naming schema off of a fate
Bandai
cross!
Bandai Namco does good things from time to time. One's Justice being a title to steal is one of them.
Anyway, so yeah, I'll remove the edgy banner thing. It's just-
Oh yeah, that was still going.
Izuku Midoriya is a hero fanboy. Even he cannot deny that. However, heroes don't always. Heroes haven't always been government-sponsored law enforcement and entertainers. In other places and other times, many different people have been called heroes. Some more deserving, and others less so. So, let's see what Izuku thinks of a few heroes no one knows of. Disclaimer: I own only the plot. This is a fan fiction. So, as I said, multiple red flags just in the disclaimer, the summary alone. First off, a disclaimer in the summary saying this is a fan fiction. You are on fanfiction.net.
Yeah, we all went through that phase, but some of us just never grew out of it for some reason.
I mean, he
I was
doesn't
never
do
in
it
that
in
phase.
literally, as you can see on my screen, not a single other one of his stories does that. Oh wait, no, Spirits Balance does that. Oh wait, oh shit, actually, I'm actually drunk as shit. He does this at every single one of his stories. Oh my god, Lupine's retarded.
He's British.
You were so fast with that.
I love you
I
sometimes, Greg, to be
despise
honest.
Luke.
Pedro, I want that clipped.
Oh. Just no hesitation.
Just the silence, the absolute perfect silence of that entire section right there.
You have no idea, Max. The idiocy
We have
me
to
and
deal.
Sneaky have to deal.
We have to deal with Lupin quite a bit, and he is just he is something special. He's something
Oh boy,
great.
yeah.
Our D&D sessions go probably an hour
Let
more
me just
because of
ignore how druids work. Oh lol, druids are so overpowered. It may be Lupine. That's because you're ignoring the rules on how druids work. No, I'm not. I'm using true polymorph scrolls to transform myself into creatures that I don't know about. And then I'm looking into mirrors so I can copy them with my shapeshift.
Shapeshift does not work that way.
We know.
Can polymorph scrolls do that?
No.
No. Polymorph
absolutely
scrolls
not.
rely on the user's imagination, and the exact abilities of specifically a true polymorph scroll are described as the follows. A true polymorph scroll transforms the user into the target creature and or being with the powers that the true polymorph user believes they have to the extent they have. These powers,
And
however, cannot exceed what the user is capable of normally.
Okay.
So, just for everyone listening, in case you ever think about doing a lol so funny wizard I'm going to turn into a door, make sure you read the text.
Yeah, it's very important that you read the text because true polymorph doesn't have a time span.
And also, you can't turn into doors.
You can't
please
link,
stop trying to do that.
Andros, you can't link things in my chat because we've had issues in the past, so you need to go to my Discord to do that. But, yeah, so Lupine's got some cognitive dissonance going on when it comes to D&D. But, anyway, so, let's see what Zuko knows. Yeah, so there's a lot of red flags in this summary alone. and I'll probably recover them whenever we do finally get Lupine on, because he is in Britain, and so he is. It is currently like 4 o'clock right now for him, and now actually 5 o'clock in the morning for him. So I can kind of understand why he doesn't show up, but the way he writes the summary, and I don't want to open the story till he shows up because I don't want to ruin it for myself, so I can properly scream at him when the time comes. But just in the way he writes in the summary, it makes it sound like the heroes are being summoned in universe of the My Hero Academia universe, which as I said to him, if no one knows about these heroes in the My Hero Academia universe, then they would be essentially powerless, because the Throne of Heroes, the servants summoned from the Throne of Heroes, their power is directly proportionate to the amount of people that both know about their legend and their weapons, and what they think about their legend.
Yeah, essentially.
And so if no one knows about these heroes, they are effectively civilians with no power. And so this is the reason why you need to really pay attention. I'm going to turn this into a lesson about fusion worlds. This is why you really need to pay attention when you are doing crossovers, specifically fusion worlds, where certain facets are being carried over to one world or another. And you really need to pay attention to the very good specifics of how those facets operate. Like, say, magic in Elder Scrolls series, or say servant summoning in the Fate series, because if you don't, it's a very instant reader rip, where you're just pulled out of the story completely in a snap of the fingers. Because if you're summoning a bunch of heroes that aren't actually known in universe, so if you have servants that cross over, and they actually talked about this in another server that was having an argument over Nasu versus Harp versus a My Hero Academia regenerator. The issue is that if you cross over, say Shiro for example, he's enforcing his will in the world when he summons a sword, and he's telling the world that this sword looks like this and has these properties. And since nothing can contest him, the sword looks like that and has those properties. If he was in Nasuverse and he tried summoning Excalibur, but it looked like a kitchen knife and had the properties of cooking food fast, it wouldn't work. Because everyone thinks Excalibur is some sort of variation of Golden Sword, or very broadsword of broadswords, and maybe not shoot beams of energy, but certainly be extremely powerful, even if they don't know why.
Yep.
And so the world would fight his version of Excalibur, and he would obviously lose, because just manifesting even a fake of Excalibur takes almost all of his energy, and the world almost instantly deletes that, even though it's a near faithful recreation of the actual Excalibur.
Well, there's actually different reasons for that. For one thing,
Also
it's,
due to its divine nature, and etc.,
Yeah.
etc. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
so,
aware,
like,
but that
it-
also
And Fable
applies
shit.
to a fair number of his in-universe own weapons, like even Galebolg and Kancho and Byakuya. Kancho and Byakuya are
Well-
the ones that stay the most, but
yeah, well, those are the two that he's most familiar with. at
even
that
those
point.
are fairly fragile as far as the world is considered,
Well,
and don't
yeah,
take much
but
to break.
they're also but they're also like super cheap
Yes,
for what they are.
yes. Well, that also is in part due to his extreme familiarity with them, and being able to expend pretty much the exact amount of mana required to summon them, instead of bleeding off a lot.
Man, the Nasuverse is so fucking wild. Especially when you get to the summoning system. It's like, this is the summoning system. And then Fake Red Orc comes like, what if we just say no?
Classic Cyber
How about
Beam.
no?
You know what's great about the summoning systems? They're still consistent. They just kind of play fast and loose with how many can be summoned. Like,
Right.
no matter what you do, if you summon a
Honestly,
serpent,
you can almost portray the Fate verse, the many facets of the Fate verse, as just a furtherance of the Bioshock theory. There is always a Grail, there are always servants, and there are always masters.
And there is always a city.
Yeah, and there's always a city.
Now you're
Even
making me
in the
wanna
moon.
We don't talk about Ken Levine's dev documents, okay? We don't talk about that.
No, he was referring to the Moon Cell one, which I believe was
Extra.
CCC or Extra.
Yeah, well, that was Fate Extra. Yeah,
CCC
and
was
CCC
the
sequel to
expansion.
Extra.
Right,
Oh,
right.
was it an expansion? I thought it
It
was just a
was.
straight sequel.
It's technically an expansion. It's technically a.
Oh, Nasu.
Gray
You
here is
awful
our resident reservoir of Fate knowledge.
Okay, so
I'm
he
an
just
Well,
idiot.
because none of
Another
the rest of us want to deal with that bullshit.
More or less.
Yeah, I have some of the best luck in Grandor
But
because my life otherwise is bullshit.
yeah, basically the first chapter of this story starts off poorly. It flows into a really shit narrative where he describes himself and a whole bunch of shit, and then he's like, "Oh, this is a slice of life story now," and he tries to describe his relationships with his family, which we all know is completely pointless because he's just gonna end up in Shield Hero and becoming a demon lord because that's the title of the story. That's the sort of thing you also have to watch out for, though. Well, will he become a demon lord? Well, your story is called The Demon Lord, so I'm gonna say, yes, he's gonna become the demon lord. I don't know why you're asking, will he become the demon lord in the summary if your story is called The Demon Lord Shield Hero. You know, it kind of answers itself. But anyway, so it's just then he gets summoned, and so it's just boring shit, and it's just large paragraphs with generally really poor dialogue. Erg, are you still here? Hurry up and move out already. My inner monologue was cut short by the sound of a familiar rude voice. It was from my youngest brother, Andrew. He was currently 13 years of age. Like, who the fuck does that? Who goes, yes, this is my younger brother, Andrew. He is of 13 years of age.
British
13
people.
well, noir style hard-boiled bullshit.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's a very strange narrative choice that a lot of people don't realize is very specific.
Well,
to
not
a-
only that, it's just who uses the phrase 13 years of age? He's just 13 years old.
Again, British people.
Fuck the British.
What is?
No,
They're
actually,
British.
stop fucking the British. Kill the British.
Hey, phrasing.
Sorry, where am I supposed to be seeing 500 gold apples at?
I don't know. Anyway, so basket filled with
Oh, I
chicken
have
eggs
580.
and blah 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 chicken coop.
You
Blah
just hold
blah
on.
blah. Really shit. It's
Yep.
literally just slice of life garbage, where he's just going around his house and
second
having
count,
like
360.
NPC level conversations with his family, like, "Oh, Damien, glad to see you are awake. Please take out the trash. Here is the trash. Ah, yes. Hello, mother. Yes, I am awake. I will take out the trash. Thank you for the trash."
The robot is strong in this chapter.
I mean, it's not really robotic. Like, that's just me making fun of him. But, like, the dad comes up. "Ah, yes, Damien. Good to see you are finally awake. Do you want to go fishing?" Like, no,
Again,
father.
robotic.
I have work to do around the house. I asked my boss if I could leave early today, and he said yes. I see. Now, if you will excuse me. It's just, really, really generic shit, and he's still slice of lifing it, still slice of lifing it. And then, right at the very last second, he gets summoned into the Shield Hero verse. So, literally, the entire first chapter is, I would say, roughly around 5,000 words of a slice of life about a self-insert OC, about a family that is never going to appear in this story again. And doesn't particularly matter. Because, as always, I can almost guarantee we go to chapter 2, and the story is going to turn into a self-insert OC goes full murder hobo on all the people the author doesn't like. Maybe it's grammatically good, who knows?
Maybe
But
maybe this author
I
will be.
honestly couldn't care. Like, already the title of the story did not catch me at all. The only reason why it caught me is because I said, oh, I'll make a good fan fiction podcast story. That's why I clicked on this story. And then reading the summary, if I for some reason clicked on the title, if I saw the summary, I would have dropped the story. And then for 5,000 words, you lead us with this slice of life garbage where only right at the end you actually have him being summoned. The first episode, which was 16 minutes, by the way, which is 5,000 words, average time to read 15 minutes-ish for the average U.S. adult. 5,000 words? Yeah. In the span of 15 minutes of an anime that you are basing your story on, they managed to go through all of that, plus 3 times more than what you did. Now, I'm not saying you need to write your story at the speed of an anime. Of course not. But
Light novel itself didn't take this long. Light novel's like, I'm a
Exactly.
college student. I'm at the library. Oh God, where the fuck am I?
and suddenly gets a phone call. Hey, Damien, let's go bowling!
Oh, Jesus Christ, no, please.
Not this world. Not this
I
world.
actually do love how
Damien,
in
let's go
GTA,
bowling.
if you were in the middle of a mission, if you answered the phone, he's hey, let's go bowling, and Nico is like, not now, Roman, I'm doing something.
Not now, Roman, I'm busy. Okay, cousin.
The
maybe
average
another
adult does
time.
not read 5K words in 15 minutes. Are you sure about that, my dude?
What's the average word count for core stuff? Like about 9 to 10K? Because I usually read those within about 15 to 20 minutes on
really?
average.
What is the
What's the
average
average
reading
reading
speed
speed?
for adults? Around 300 words. Okay.
Per
That
minute.
sounds slow.
Let's see. So 15 minutes would approximate. Let's see. It's 300 times 15. I mean, it is slow, but most people are practically illiterate, as we can well see. Really? That's not what this whole thing says right here. It says 4.5. The average adult reading speed is around 200 to 250.
Where did you get 300 from?
Right here. What is
Oh,
the average
second
reading
article.
speed from WiseGeek? The average adult reading speed is 300 words per minute. I like how they go, the average reading speed is this, but many people can read above that. And I'm like, yeah, that's how averages work, you see. Half the people can read faster than the average, and half the people can't. So they average out to the average. That's how averages work. Which is why the joke, I believe that it was, what's his face? The bald guy. The semi-bald guy with the hair on the side of his head. The classic old man bald head thing. George Carlton. That's why George Carlton's joke of imagine the intelligence of the average person, now realize that half of the people in the world are dumber than that. That's why his joke is funny. It's because it's true.
Unfortunately, it's true. Yeah.
We as people who read too much fan fiction average around 350. Well, people who read fan fiction as adults, unfortunately, do not make enough of an impact on the average reading speed of an adult in the world. Unfortunately, that average is around 200. So I was actually correct. It's 4.5, with an average of 300 words per minute. 4.5 thousand words per 15 minutes. So, do keep that in mind. Because animes typically do summarize multiple chapters into a single show. And if the anime is able to accurately get all the information of the first episode out to hook you into reading it in the span of 3 minutes, you should really consider what exactly you're covering in 15 minutes as a book. I don't have too much more advice. Honestly, this whole story was just a example of what not to do. Like, it was so uninteresting that we talked for nearly 2 hours about everything but this story. And then the author goes on. This is the other thing I really despise about fan fiction, is it lets the authors just make author's notes anywhere. And I understand like a whole pre-word to your story, and I can understand if you're posting on like a forum and you want to answer specific questions, and you're like, okay, this is the ending author's note. I want to answer specific questions or worries someone might have about this chapter or previous chapters. I can get that, but like this entire like 2,000 word document right here, author's note, where the author is basically trying to justify the fact that they have a guy named Damien the Abyss, and the fact that they just focused on the family that's never going to be appearing again. Give him quote, proper motivation. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what kind of person Damien really is in his normal life before Shield Hero happens. I mean, we didn't need to know what Shield Hero's normal life was before Shield Hero happens, because they just portrayed it well. He was out of his depth, he was confused, he was lost, and they portrayed all of this very easily. Yes, there is a team of writers, but you don't need to always show it directly. A very large portion of good writing is showing something indirectly. How they react to a certain situation, how they react to certain people, how they phrase certain things. All of that can show the nature of a character. You don't have to show them like just strolling through an average day before you can actually have anything happen, just so you can set up how the character normally acts. If you just include the proper narrative when certain events are occurring, like say the character is scared when they're in the new world because some monster jumps out at them. And in the narrative, if you want to have your character attack the monster right away out of fear, you can say, normally Damien would have run from, someone jumping out of the bush at him. But he knew he had no choice but to face his fears and swung at the creature instead. There you can set up Damien as maybe skittish, maybe he is non-confrontational, maybe he's not used to surprises. There's so many other ways you can incorporate character traits, personality, typical reactions and interactions with the world into a story without just trying to first-person narrative them walking through an average day of their life.
And
Because
even
not
then,
only
you're
is
not
that
putting
hilariously boring, it's not a good hook, and your first chapter is supposed to be a hook. And just being like, oh yeah, today I took out the trash, I talked to my mother, my dad offered me to go fishing, my little sister's a bitch, and my little brother is too. Oh wow. Fucking riveting. I thought I was coming here to read fantasy, not your generic IRL.
It's basically just inflating the word count. Yeah, this definitely feels like something someone in high school would do, just because they haven't quite gotten to that 5,000 word count that their teacher asked them to do. By the way, has I ever told you how much I hate word count?
Do not let, however, the prologue deceive you, for there is far more to Damien than what I have shown here. Then what was the fucking point of showing Damien in the first place?
Fuck you, that's why.
For example, I'm going to use our Dark Souls story. I introduced Valkyrie in the narrative as a person who is setting another person on fire, not as an undead, but as a normal person at an actual insane asylum setting another normal person on fire. Because
I'm
reasons.
just setting people on fire.
Well, there's a reason why she's at an insane asylum. And that's how I showed it. And then, she has some dialogue with the bird, of which, of course, the bird doesn't respond because it's a fucking bird. And
It's
then
a fucking bird.
and then she has some dialogue with the what's the term for that? The sleepy warrior, the
the crestfallen.
crestfallen. There we go. She has some dialogue with the crestfallen warrior, showing she's lost, not overly interested, just kind of picking out key parts. Go find a bell. Cool. Let's go find a bell. Not really caring. She gets easily offended when someone else uses fire, when an undead throws a firebomb at her, and she's like, oh, fuck you, time to burn. I'll show you what real fireballs look like.
Die.
Word counts is a way better way to define than pages as a measurement of a story length. Sort
No.
of. No, as far as word count versus pages, I agree word count's better. But as my technical writing, that's what it was. As my technical writing professor put it, word counts and pages mean nothing. What is important is that you get your idea down in the exact way you want it to be displayed as concisely as you can display it. Because people's time is limited and you don't want to waste it with frivolous detail. Like, for example, don't spend half of your first chapter describing the size of Naruto's room in the mansion he lives in, and then have that never be a relevant plot point ever again.
Yep.
But anyway, back to this
I have
author's
nothing
note
else
of
to say to
garbage.
that.
His full history, his motives, and everything else will be told throughout the story. I know I could have told you all of that here and now. But I'd rather do that in the actual story and not the prologue. You fucking dumbass. The prologue is supposed to set up the first chapter. Like, for example, in Aragon, the prologue wasn't about Aragon. The prologue of Aragon was about 3 elves running at high speeds through a forest being chased by something. And each elf begins to fall one by one from an unseen attacker. So finally there is just but one elf left, She swears underneath her breath and begins to cast a magical spell. But as the arrow fires from the darkness and hits her, her spell goes off, transporting the item she cradled so preciously far, far away.
So this is actually just the Aragon appreciation stream given to you by Sneaky Devil.
It's in his first book, at least, and his second, he actually got a lot of technical writing aspects correctly.
Oh no, I'm not saying he didn't. I was just joking by the fact that you are quite literally just going on and on about Aragon.
Well, it's useful. So, I mean,
Wait,
it's
he's
one of
really
those.
been doing nothing but Aragon for the last
No,
40
I
minutes?
literally just use it as an example. We're currently
Okay.
making fun of the author's note because he's like, I could have explained everything about this character in the prologue, but I want to save that for the real story. Even though he spent the entire prologue just doing a slice of life of the main character. And it was just like, hey, son, good to see you're finally awake. Do you want to go fishing with me?
Hey, you! You're finally awake. You were trying to
Hey,
cross the
you!
border.
When are you going to play XCOM Crap Squad?
We're doing- this is more important.
After I finish off ranting about the rest of this author's note, and then I take a piss because I've drunk a lot of alcohol. Wow, that's a lot.
Sneaky, how much Black Kraken is left? Not how much have you drunk, how much is left?
Excuse you, I have at least 2 hands of Black Kraken left.
2 hands. Do you mean 2 full hands or 2 hands out on the side?
2 hands on their sides, of course.
That's not a lot left, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen. That's...
fuck, no, on their sides, dumbass, not palm down.
Okay, so that's actually like 2/3 of it left.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've
okay,
only
that-
drunk a third. Fuck you.
and you're drunk already? Wow.
I didn't say I was drunk already. I said I need to take a piss.
He said he drunk a lot and that he needed to piss. Like, there's a difference.
I didn't say I was drunk. Please, bitch, please.
All right. I was gonna call you a bitch, but if you're not drunk, then you're fine.
I need to take a piss.
All right.
Also, before this stream, I drank like 1.5 liters of black tea because I'm a goddamn genius.
You're retarded.
Anyway, go.
I don't have any other words. I will use the R word. You're retarded.
I apologize if this upsets people, but I've
Apology not
always
accepted.
been this sort of guy who likes to keep his readers guessing about the main character's motivations.
That sounded like a Twitter post at first. It's just like, I don't
When
care.
has
if it's
Sneaky
offensive,
ever been
buddy.
pissed drunk? There's been a couple times. Like the one time I drank 2 liters of vodka.
Definitely when the chair gave out.
That was
Definitely
another
when the
time,
chair
yeah.
came
There was the time with Cruel Rune when he was on, and I was literally insensate. I was blackout drunk. I wasn't.
I remember that one.
It took me 30 minutes to say I played Invoker 1.
And that's how we lost that game, ladies and gentlemen.
Fuck you. That was not a game that I played Invoker in.
It doesn't matter if it wasn't a game we played Invoker in. The fact that you were that drunk means we lost.
Fuck you.
No.
Am I immune to such a state of being? No. But it takes an exceedingly large amount of alcohol to actually get me to that state, and Max can confirm that I pretty much just walked it off within like about 5 minutes of them waking me up.
I don't remember anything about that. That would have been a while ago.
Yeah, that was about a year and a half ago now.
I haven't seen you blackout drunk except once, I think. Maybe twice.
Yeah. Like I said, it takes about several liters of 80 proof alcohol to actually get me to that point, and I have to like drink it within like an hour span too, or otherwise I just walk it off.
Did we end this stream?
Yes, we're ending the stream.
No, look, we got really into talking about Aragon.
I am going to mute you, Nose.
Also, before you stop reading my story, I would really appreciate it if you just read the description of Chapter 1. Hopefully, this will alleviate the concerns you might have. I'm well aware that Damien is far from the title of Best Protagonist, but he is my protagonist, and I'm sticking with him.
I mean, that's fine. Just improve it.
Besides, he gets better as time goes by, like an aged wine, and more mature as the story goes on, like an aged wine. As the description at the beginning
Maybe
of chapter
you realize
1
that
will
wine has
explain.
to age for a very long time to get good.
Anyway, if you have more questions, please feel free to PM me. Why did I decide to make an American protagonist instead of Japanese? Well, it's quite obvious, because I'm in America, and I'm an American. And while I am a huge fan of anime and Japan as a whole, I wouldn't want to upset anyone by mistaking Japanese stuff. It seems odd, I know, but I thought it best just to stick with what I know. That's actually the first intelligent thing you've said this entire time.
Yeah, certainly better than trying to pretend than like being an ultra weeb.
Yeah. How often do I plan on updating? Why did I choose to write Damien's lines in first person? Because I thought it would make the story easier to understand. And I got the idea from the one and only Star's Shield Hero fic. And I thought it was a good idea and an interesting way of writing. I mean, don't get me wrong, first person is actually a great way of writing, because you get to get very nitty gritty with how the character perceives the world, but it is also one of the worst ways to write because of how difficult it is to get right.
Yeah.
The actual story begins with chapter 1 picking up where the cardinal heroes are summoned. We all know now Fumi responded and reacted to all that, but how will Damien Abyss respond to becoming this shield hero? I could tell you, but it would be more fun for you to read it in the next chapter.
Habla inglés, hijo de puta.
Okay. Then.
What kind of
Adios,
self-respecting
buenos
human being
noches.
would name themselves Dame IN in this day and age? The only Damien I know is black. Just putting that out there.
We'll ignore the abyss part because that's obviously nonsense.
The only Damien I have ever met was a skinny white kid who was a redhead.
I've never met any Damiens, and for that I
Anyway.
count myself lucky.
It is 10 fucking o'clock almost, and I appreciate all 14 of you that have actually stayed this entire time. So I am very pleased by that. That's
We haven't seen
usually
that in a long
usually by
time.
this point we have lost nearly everyone, but you have all stayed, and I am impressed and pleased. So, now of course, we'll remind you all that this channel will not grow unless you all spread it.
Make sure to save it. Let everyone on Twitter or something know
Sure.
that you're doing it.
Yep.
Don't show it to your parents. Your parents will disown you.
Exactly.
Show it to your friends, your family.
People you hate.
What?
People you hate.
Yeah. Mostly people you hate,
Show
so
it to
they can
people you
suffer
hate.
with.
Yes. You'll definitely lose friends over this. I will confirm that.
Sneaky is very abrasive. Don't worry about that.
But we'll be here every single Tuesday.
I will
every
also
single
be here.
Friday. 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Maybe sometimes a little bit extra.
We got him talking
However,
today.
speaking of extra, we will be continuing our XCOM SJW Police Edition race to the finish.
Me and Sneaky will. You can catch
After
my
I,
version.
Take a piss.
We would do this the squad streaming thing, but we're not allowed to make money. So
Yeah.
So just if you really want to see squad sharing, you can just put mine up on one screen on like one tab and Sneaky's on another. Also, mine's at Lord
Nose
of the
Hair will
Twitch.
be at Lord Nose Hair. Was that what it? Lord Nose
It's just
Hair.
it's just Lord knows there.
Lord Nose Hair. Lord Knows Hair on Twitch.
Oh, Lord of the
and-
Nose Hair,
Or
sorry,
you
it is
can
actually Lord.
tune in about 10 to 15 minutes whenever I collectively get my shit together. And come back to start streaming that. So, if you are interested in watching me play a game mildly buzzed and possibly getting more drunk as time goes by, you can certainly tune in about 10 minutes or so. But if you are just here for the fan fiction, that's all you want to see, you can tune in on Friday, because I will see you next time. As always, there's always more, and it always gets worse.